What's happening, guys? Just before we start this week's episode, I want to let you know, if you love this podcast and you want more of it, you can get an extra episode every single week exclusively on patreon.com/haveawordpod. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's basically a way for you to financially support this podcast whilst also getting some benefits for yourself in return. You can sign up for £3 a month, £5 a month, £10 a month, and obviously the more money you give, the more benefits you get. But even if you just sign up for that £3 a month, which is the price of a fancy coffee or a pint in a shit boozer, you get an extra episode every single week, exclusive. No one else gets to see it apart from the Patreons. And you also get 24 to 48 hours early access to the public episodes as well. That's what you get. And on top of all of that, you get access to the entire back catalogue of the Patreon episodes. We've been doing that for like a year now. There's loads of content there. There's also the 2 lockdown lock-ins we did in this room where we got dead drunk. They only go on Patreon. The ones we do in the future of them will only go on Patreon. If you support us, you get shitloads of content for us, and you can only get it at patreon.com/haveawordpod. Go sign up now. Pause it here, sign up, and then come back to this episode. It's going to be a belter.
Claire.
I've got an apology to make.
Oh, yeah, another.
Yeah. It's becoming a weekly thing.
Could you do it to camera, please? Because that's how it's done.
I'm very, very sorry.
How old was she?
94. I broke her hip.
Oh.
Bitch popped that pussy and broke her hip.
Oh, no. Not with a 94-year-old. Come on.
Anyway, would you fuck a granny? Like if you were... We'll get back to the apology in a minute. But...
Have you seen Prince Philip?
Yeah.
So do you think I would?
Why?
He literally looks like
the Walking Dead.
Life, but he should do. He's 99.
Yeah.
He's 99 years of age. He looks like he's been dead for 6 years, but he's still alive. So maybe that granny juice, maybe that's what's keeping him going.
Rough start.
When was the last time do you reckon he saw her, Fanny?
Oh, guys, rough as fuck start.
Well, he's been in hospital for 2 weeks, so at least a fortnight ago.
They've had a little break.
Yeah.
I saw those pictures when everyone was like, oh my God, he looked like a zombie. I'm like, I've got a 95-year-old granddad who is only slightly better in terms of visuals. It wasn't as startling. Yeah. I've got a granddad who's like, things aren't working. You're like, yeah, that is natural, innit?
Yeah. Do you reckon they're still at it every now and then?
No.
Not reckon.
Do you reckon he shits while she's in the shower?
Why?
Like in the same room, I mean.
No, I reckon they've got separate. I reckon they've got like 2 on.
Do you think they've got separate?
I reckon they've got a downstairs toilet and an upstairs.
They've got separate fucking castles. I reckon they might have separate shitters. I think they might have separate toilets. No shit. They've got separate staffs.
Do you reckon Buckingham Palace has got more than one bathroom, yeah?
I researched it recently. 4.
4?
Yeah, downstairs. Yeah.
Rare to get that these days.
They've still got one in the garden. They've stopped got one in the garden.
Buckingham Palace isn't a new build.
Bifolds, but then they've still got the old.
No garage though.
Do you reckon they've got electric toothbrushes?
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
No, because his teeth would fall out, wouldn't he? Like the vibration.
I don't think 9-year-olds use electric toothbrushes. Like, hey, my jaw's gone. No.
Well, there's something keeping him alive, isn't there? There's something. Because he should be
world class healthcare the whole of his fucking life. That's what is keeping him alive. Like, usually 99-year-olds are dead, because they've been fucking waiting on the NHS for shit that's going wrong. He goes, I've got chest pains. Like, quickly, the limousine to the King George's Hospital. And like 97 physicians are like, oh my God, Prince Philip, let's keep him alive. Or don't.
Do you reckon he's going to get a letter from the Queen when he's 100?
Yeah, but they save on postage.
Just a text. Well then, lad.
She just leans over like, lad, well done.
Yeah.
It's gutting that he's not king.
Do you reckon she'll hand deliver it?
Talk about running the fucking game. Like, here's your little letter. Well done, happy birthday. He's like, can I be king for this last bit of my life? No, fuck off. Yeah. You're a prince, a 99-year-old prince.
She doesn't have the power though, does she, to make him a king? Do you reckon he wants to be the king? You go under the radar a bit more if you're a prince, don't you? And I mean,
it's under the radar.
It's easier to
He's the Queen's husband. Proper under the radar.
But it's easier to keep a bit of privacy if you're only a prince.
He's the fucking Queen's husband. Bit of privacy.
Who is he?
Right, are you coming to open this hospital, Philip? No, mate, no. If you didn't make me the king, I'm not doing the fucking hospital opening.
Do you reckon he's ever shagged anyone else?
I've never watched The Crown. My missus watches it.
He probably...
He was a gobshite, wasn't he?
Is that what you're using as a reference for facts about the royal family?
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah, cool.
What
Prince
do you mean?
Philip Young.
Has he ever shagged anyone? Let me just check. I've watched The Crown.
No, but like The Crown is like very, very factually correct.
Yeah.
They have to watch it to like allow
When was
it.
the last time he got an erection? 1975. I mean, it was pre the time when it was almost frowned upon. It was like
Finn's googling. Did Prince Philip have a girlfriend? Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Have an affair in the 50s? Don't click on that one.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
If you heard Carl go, don't click on that one, it was because it was for a website that we refused to use.
Yeah.
Work it out. I just think he's from an era that he probably did, but I love the fact that he married a queen and she was like, nah, you're staying a prince. Well, what's my son?
It's not a decision.
They're a prince.
He's king consort, isn't he?
It's not a decision.
Whose decision is it?
It's like, it's tradition, isn't it? Like, if you marry the queen, you become a prince. You never become a king if you marry the queen. The only way you can become a king is if you inherit the throne.
It's consort, like queen consort. Like you're the queen, but you're not. You're just the king's wife.
Yeah.
I think historically, someone has married a queen and been given the role as king. I would imagine that's been worked out over the years. I don't know enough about royal history.
Yeah.
But who's
executive level whip that, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like when you get involved with a girl and she's like, you're not fucking doing that. You're not being the king is the top of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can marry me. We'll have kids together. You can have your own castle. You can have an affair in the 1950s, according to the Crown. You can do nothing apart from open a few hospitals, but you're a fucking prince, just like your grandsons.
Yeah.
I fucking get
Do you reckon he's ever bummed her?
Google that one, Finn.
He's definitely bummed her.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Do you reckon they have because I think because they're royal, you imagine that they just have squeaky clean, like missionary sex and they cuddle. But do you reckon he's ever like fucking
They don't cuddle.
chained her up in
The
the dungeons
aristocracy
and whipped
don't
her?
cuddle. Fuck's sake. They breed and then wander off into their own wing of
Do you
the
not reckon they have a
palace.
good sex life?
No. Oh, I reckon he's definitely bummed her head off. Like,
Do you not reckon she's ever been like chained to the dungeons and that? And like he's come in and just fucking
The dungeons. The actual
yeah,
dungeons.
but they've got dungeons. haven't they?
Hello, is that the captain of the tower? Yeah, Philip and I are coming tonight. Make sure the staff aren't there. We would like to use the dungeon. Oh, really, Mom? What for? Mind your fucking business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he'd have to be there though, wouldn't he? They've all, like the president. Someone's gonna watch it get bumped probably as his job.
No.
I reckon.
Someone's going to watch the royal shag.
I mean,
I reckon they probably do have like a witness to everything. Because imagine if she got bummed to death, right? And then he's gonna explain it.
Do you reckon this is getting demonetized as well?
I think we should, if they don't clock it, I think we should write to YouTube and ask for it to be demonetized. Just I feel like it's the ethical thing to do.
It'd just be really funny if right now in the middle of us talking of the Queen bummed to death, if a Colgate advert comes on.
Andrex.
I just want to know. I want to know what their sex life is like.
They haven't had one.
No, but like not now. Obviously, he's 99 and he, at very least, he's using Viagra. But back in the day when they were fucking like going for it and that. Do you know what I mean?
Have you not seen? You haven't seen it. There's a show.
Because they're humans. I know there's rumours that they're lizards, but they're apparently humans, so they've got needs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily satisfy those needs with each other, though, do they?
No, I watched The Greats.
Powerful people
They just shag.
marry for status and power, don't they?
Yeah.
And then stick their dicks where they want, and that's so.
No, but you can't really be having an affair if you're Prince Philip. People recognise you. You can't be on Tinder.
You
You'd be like,
reckon-
I fucking know him from somewhere.
Princes and kings can't have affairs because they're too famous.
What would his bio be? If he
That
was on
sounds right.
Tinder?
Well, don't tell me wife. You know who she is. Winky emoji.
She's on the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if he turns up in like,
Imagine if he ever got a prostitute and he had to pay her with his wife's face.
That's pimping that.
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, you definitely Charles Darwin face up, wouldn't it?
Hang on.
Right, I'm gonna need some fucking money for this, Phil, you dirty old dog. Okay,
Where
how
do you
much
think
do
he
I
gets
owe
his
you?
prostitutes from? He's not just driving around fucking Hackney. He's going elite, isn't he? They're coming to him.
Oh, I was just doing. They
Prince
live
Andrew's
in
got a lot,
London,
hasn't
don't they? That's what I did.
Do you,
I just did.
do you reckon he's getting London prostitutes?
I really feel like there was a funny bit about the old face there that you just decided was not happening. What? Where's that prosy from? Fucking hell.
I reckon he flies them in.
I love it when it starts like
He
this.
gets like exotic ones.
Where from?
all over the gaff.
Coventry.
Thailand, Russia, the Arctic.
Yeah. Inuit people.
Yeah.
Eskimo prozzies?
Eskimo prozzies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they'd be...
A bit lost.
Yeah. You look warm, love. Take that fur off.
Man's
Do you
not
reckon they
hot.
wear that all the time, even in our countries? Do you reckon when Eskimos go on holiday to Africa, they've got the fucking Kenny from South Park hat on?
Do you think there's an Eskimo airport?
Eskimo International.
I've got a feeling, and I've never heard this, that
Go on.
Eskimo is offensive, and we're being dead racist now.
It's not. It's, you know.
They're not a historically disenfranchised group. There was no Eskimo slavery.
Yeah, I think
was
they
there?
are. I think they are. I
Is
think
it
they
like
are.
Inuit.
Yeah, Inuit's, I think, the cultural term.
You
isn't
could
it?
pick an Inuit, yeah.
But that's the,
Eskimo is predominantly seen as offensive or non-preferred and has been widely replaced by the term Inuit.
Fucking Eskimo Twitter.
Inuit.
that's the great thing about like the Arctic not having the internet.
Inuit sounds more offensive than Eskimo, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be more proud to be like, I'm a fucking Eskimo than I'm an Inuit. It sounds like you should.
No.
idiot.
Yeah, they can, but they can use it.
Oh, right, okay.
They can use Eskimo.
Can they?
We can't use
The
Eskimo.
E-word.
Where's
Yeah,
he
yeah.
got
When
that
they
coat?
see one of their mates, they're like, "Whoa, my Eskimo!" And everyone's like, "Yeah,
Eskimo, please.
that's my Eskimo."
Where's he bought that coat from?
I know. That'd be fucking expensive, that. Has he
Yeah.
made that himself out of a
Fucking
dead
Canada
bear or
Goose.
something?
Yeah, because he twatted a polar bear with his Eskimos.
That's mad, isn't it?
Eskimos.
46 hot Eskimos. What a fucking great website that is.
That's some porn, that.
Do Eskimos
That's
make
a
their
weird
coats?
calendar.
If
It
they
is-
were in River Island, they'd be hundreds of pounds.
Going through Google in front of someone who's got ADHD, I'm telling you, I like the idea of the clips, but you can't be typing in Google. Adam's like, I can see his head going.
Yeah. Do you reckon there's Eskimo porn? There must be. Get in that igloo, bitch, and suck my dick.
Just give me 5 minutes, warm up.
You're a good director, aren't you?
Igloos are meant to be warm, aren't they? It's weird that. Can't get my head around it. Made out of ice, boiling hot.
How many coffees did you have on the way? Go on. Be honest. How many coffees have you had? Just one. Was
Got a full fat
it a
cup.
big one?
No, it was
Oh
a
my
Greg's
God.
one as well. It's quite weak.
Boiling hot.
Boiling hot. Don't need a coat in an igloo.
No.
Famously.
You know, in the quiz, when we talked about Metallica have done gigs on every continent,
Yeah.
the Arctic's not a continent, is it? It's just a load of ice. Am I
Oh,
right?
Isn't it?
Isn't it Antarctica?
Antarctica.
Antarctica is a continent.
But that includes the... I mean, it's more than one place, isn't it? I'm sure it's
What?
Google.
Just Google with that screen off. Because what do we go? The 7 continents. I just don't understand how you do a gig in the Arctic.
Yeah, Antarctica is a continent.
So-
Fucking hell.
so they've
Metallica with a load of Eskimos and penguins. Must have been
There's-
sick, that.
Yeah. There's no Eskimos in Antarctica though, is there? That's.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! There it is. There's the gig.
Metallica rocks Freeze 'em All show in Antarctica.
So that was the Arctic's not a continent. It's just a load of ice, isn't it? Yeah.
That's
Alright,
fucking
cool.
mad.
There are no Eskimos in Antarctica.
Is there not?
No.
Where are they?
Where you had it, Arctic.
The Arctic, the top bit, North Pole.
Yeah, the northern. The sound, not like them fucking southerners.
What's down there?
There's no indigenous people of Antarctica.
Why don't we all move there then? Set
Looks
up a new
sound like-
civilization. We're always trying to fucking conquer Mars and that, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's well closer.
Because he cries if the window's open for 5 minutes. If I open the studio window just to clear some guff out, he's like, fucking hell, it's freezing, lad.
It's almost like it was the middle of December when you did it.
Yeah, so how are you going to do in Antarctica when Adam's like,
I'd
lad,
have a coat on.
You'd have a
we're going to
contact.
be the biggest podcast in Antarctica. Think about it.
We would be.
How many people were that at Metallica gig? That literally looked like the
14
whole of the
people.
crew of their plane. That was about 48 people like, whoa, just
If
to
I'd
say
known
you've
about
done
that, I'd have thought about going, just for the experience. Be good, wouldn't it?
How would you get there?
it. Where's the weirdest place you've gigged? Where's the... Because like the Forces gigs had gigs in the Falklands and it took them 11 hours flying, absolute fucking beast of a journey. But that was one of those ones where a few years ago when the Forces gigs were really in, there was like Afghanistan, what you did for like 2 weeks, you had to get safety training, you had to get a certificate, which is basically like, this is what happens if an RPG blows up your gig, right? So for insurance reasons, to go to Afghanistan and entertain the troops, and you got something like 12 grand for the 2 weeks, it was fucking danger money. There was also gigs in Cyprus when they're coming back from like the tours and everything. There's gigs all over the Med, and then Bahrain, Dubai, and in the Middle East. But then Falklands was another one because they've got troops posted out there. And part of me was like, oh, it sounds like a ball ache. But just to say you've been to Afghanistan to gig, you can't say no to that, can you?
Could be a tough crowd, that though, couldn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I imagine they're not kicking hecklers out there.
All right, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I thought you thought it was just all the local Afghanis.
No.
All right, I thought you were like, tough crowd that. I mean, you're shooting them 1 minute, and then you're like, listen, ISIS, you're a right pair of cunts. You two, but are you coming in? 7 p.m, it's the comedy show. Adam Rose headlining.
ISIS just two people,
Yeah,
two
yeah.
fellas. Listen, ISIS, you're a pair of bastards.
We've beaten them. We've beaten them.
You two caused fucking murder the world over. I don't know how you've got away with it.
It's those two ISIS.
Like hat and deck, innit? Of that side of the world.
But I think you'd have to do it. You'd have to do it if someone offered it, just to be like, fuck it.
Yeah, I'd absolutely do it.
Falklands?
Yeah. I'd go anywhere, me, for a gig. As long as the money's right, obviously. I'm not going to Afghan for 50 quid.
Go
You would.
anywhere.
You'd definitely go to Afghanistan for 50 quid.
I wouldn't.
If it was paid for and they give you 50 quid.
Are you fucking
No,
joking?
I
You wouldn't go
wouldn't.
to Warrington for 50 quid.
Exactly, but it's the experience, innit? I've been to Afghanistan and gigged.
How much of a cunt promoter would have to be like, we've got a gig in Afghanistan? But it's not really, it's more of a new material night.
Sounds like Mirth Control. That.
Yeah, it literally sounds. So, it can't pay full fees, but it's 50 quid.
Got to drive someone from London as well.
Yeah. but don't worry, it's cash in hand. I would definitely have taken them up if I got offered it. We know people that went out to do it.
Yeah.
But Antarctica.
Steve Harris is banned from Camp Bastion, isn't he? For making a joke.
Oh right.
Yeah. He made a
The
joke.
the friendly fire joke.
The friendly fire joke. And he's legit banned from an active war zone.
That's great, innit?
He does a routine about it, but I've asked him, is it real? And he's like, yeah, it is.
There was loads of that. You've really got to be careful about what you say.
Isn't it mad that there's two groups of people banned from Camp Bastion? One of them is Al-Qaeda, and one of them
Banned.
is Steve Harris.
ISIS aren't, because they know where those two lads are. And it's like, listen, we need ID if you're coming in Camp Bastion.
Al-Qaeda are banned.
Do you reckon they have ID? In like ISIS and that? Do you get like a fucking pass saying you're in it?
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise you could just fucking blag it, couldn't you?
You get like you get a
I've been here
lanyard.
for years. I kill loads of people.
You get it written down. They've got it on a database.
Yeah.
They've got Janine in accounts in HR.
Janine?
Yeah, Janine.
Fucking hell.
She works for ISIS.
Does she?
Yeah. She got it on
groomed
LinkedIn.
from Birmingham, was she? Yeah.
Not allowed on.
She was like, why Birmingham?
I don't know. Janine just sounds Birmingham.
Right, okay. Yeah, she works out
They're
there.
on the same boat as Shamima Begum. Got over there and they just went together.
Oh, poor Shamima.
Yeah.
Shamima Lee.
I seen a picture of her recently. She's got like a hoodie
With
on
the glasses on. Yeah, everyone's saying, deport her back to ours.
Bless her.
Yeah.
How is she being fucked over and left over there? It's really brutal.
It's a complicated one, that, isn't it? It's hard to have.
It absolutely is a complicated one.
I love how like social media simplifies it as well. Do you know what I mean? Because in my
Like it
opinion,
always does.
based on what I have seen, is that she was groomed as a child, taken over there. Like she is our problem because she's a British citizen, and she should be brought back and maybe tried and whatever here. But I don't really know what I'm talking about. The people who have got that opinion so vehemently on social media, she's ours and she should be brought back, as if like it hasn't gone through every level of court and they haven't looked at every single bit of evidence and might know something that everyone else doesn't. I just love how everyone on social media is like, I know this because I have done a degree in art, fine art actually. I drew a picture of Afghanistan and I know exactly what's going on over there. So this and this.
I don't even think you need to do loads of research on it. Like, she's British.
Yeah.
She's British.
But do you not think the judges that have decided that she's over there might have more of an eye on information than we have? Because I agree with you. I'm just sort of devil's advocate in it.
Yeah, you're right. It's become political, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's become political, and I don't know if they're doing it as a deterrent, because that's a major problem, isn't it? Young Muslims in the country getting radicalised, and groom to fight what they feel is like a holy war.
I think the
and now,
government...
but I'd like to be leaving her out there and be like, not our problem. You're like, she's definitely British.
Yeah, well, I think it's proven that, like, maybe the courts are run by, like, working class mums, and they've just gone, that's it now! You're either in or you're out! She's out. She's gone. Yeah. You're not coming in. You come back for your tea, and that's it.
Could you imagine if the courts were run by people from, if it was like, instead of just, what do they call it when the jury, it can be from anyone in society, can't it? If also the judge was just from anyone in society. So who's your judge for your court case?
I'd be a great judge.
It's Barry from Gateshead. He's a plumber and he doesn't fuck about. So you've been accused of bringing an in, you fucking peggy bastard. 10 years. I got me fucking scooter nicked when I was 19 and I won't fucking stand for it. Oh, get in fucking jail, you dirty bastard.
That's essentially the magistrates.
Yeah. No, but it would jazz things up, wouldn't it? It would jazz things up if randomly some fucking dodgy cunt from round your way was a judge for the day. Like, you've been accused of breaking and entering. Like, nothing wrong with that.
Being called up for judge duty.
I'd fucking love it if the Houses of Parliament were just taken over by working class people.
Ali G.
Because it's all fake. Yeah, Ali G style, but like real. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously that's quite high, like exaggerated for comedy effect. But just like, when like fucking Boris Johnson's just spouting the same old shite, and Keir Starmer or even Corbyn before about to come and go, the right honourable gentleman is clearly telling lies to fabricate. Blah, blah, blah. I'd just love if it was like Carl or someone I know who just went, lad, you're chatting shit. Sit the fuck down. For once, stop chatting shit and just be fucking honest and tell everyone that the reason you bought PPE off him is because you're home a tenner from year 9. That's what happened. You went to school together. It's fucking bang on. Everyone knows what you've done. Just fucking tell the truth. Just tell the truth, because you're starting to look like a fucking knobhead.
Yeah. Yeah. That would basically be the Italian Parliament. But there's all of those rules of like procedural court stuff is very old fashioned, and it's all just so that nothing can be libelous, and you've got to say what you can say, and the judge is in charge of it. And basically those rules are transferred to Parliament. Like, the Speaker gets to control who says what. You can't even go past the line in Parliament.
It's the length of swords, isn't it?
There's the length of swords from fucking hundreds of years ago. You're not meant to step past, because they had issues with people sword fighting in the middle of Parliament. But that, could you imagine? Like, you've given PPE to your mates. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
That'd be better.
But all of those rules are in place to stop anyone talking like that, going, you're chatting shit. They'd be like, order. However, the politicians who actually speak normally stand out a fucking mile, don't they?
Yeah.
Because they're not just basically grey-haired white Tories who are 60 and independently wealthy, and you instantly just feel they just look so much more normal. Who's the Scottish girl? Is it Mari Black, and she's like 24.
Yeah.
And she spent all of her allowance.
You're all fucking ruined in Scotland. I fucking love it up there. I mean, it's fucking shite.
Sorry, everyone.
It's fucking shite.
His Scottish impression is
wouldn't be so shite if you didn't take all our fucking money and all our opportunities. We've got fucking oil and you're fucking using it, and we don't get fucking anything back for it. And it's fucking not on. It's not on.
James McFadden.
How do we have anyone in Scotland that listens? But she's like 24, isn't she?
Yeah.
How good is that? That she's got a working class lass that's 24, and she's smart, and she represents. Fucking love it.
Yeah,
great.
If you could have like an hour in a room with any Tory MP to do whatever you want with them, right? And I mean whatever you want. You could literally have a nice conversation with them if you want, or you can tie into a chair and dismember his body.
What would I want with an hour of Michael Gove? Sit down for an hour. That would be the most vile podcast you could ever do. Sorry, Michael, I'm just going to set up some recording equipment. And he just goes...
It has to be Jacob Rees-Mogg, doesn't it? He just smashes his head in for an hour.
Yeah. I wouldn't smash his head in, because you're going to see that. And everyone's going to know he's in a room with me. I'd just repeatedly kick him in the bollocks. I'd let it die down, and then kick him in the bollocks again, and then let it die down and kick him in the bollocks again.
I think he'd take it, and I think he'd be like, keep doing it, monkey boy, keep doing it.
No, but at the end, I'd cut his head off.
Right.
Did notice that as well.
It's quite an aggressive form of satire we do on Have a Word. It is politics, but it has a certain edge
So what
to
I'd
it.
do, I'd kick him in Parliament.
Yeah.
That'd do his head in, wouldn't it?
I reckon he's got a sly schlong, you know. I reckon Jacob Rees-Mogg has got an absolute weaponic pipe.
Yeah, that he wasn't born with. He's just paid for a poor person's dick and had it transplanted. He's just at that level of wealth. Like, yes, I think I'll have a Puerto Ricans. Thank you.
All his kids Liverpool fans,
Apparently so,
which
yeah.
is madness.
Yeah.
I think that's his way of connecting with the North in some way, probably.
No, I think he's just like probably from an era. He's probably a Liverpool fan as well. So he's from an era.
Like the 80s, you mean?
Yeah, where
70s.
Liverpool was successful and his fucking dad's got, oh, I'll support the team that's winning because I like to win everything. And
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Anyway, I've got an apology to make. So,
To the royal family.
I'm not
First of
sorry
all.
to the royal family. I haven't said she gets bummed. I speculated that she might get bummed. And that's just fair game. If you're in the public eye, you've got to expect that some podcasts are going to be questioning whether or not you get bummed.
Not all of them are going to, but some of them.
Yeah.
Great grandma.
Is she a
Go on,
great
what's your
grandpa? She is
apology?
now as well, yeah.
Yeah, what's your apology? What do you need to say sorry for?
I need to say sorry to you.
Why, what's going on?
Because remember a couple of weeks ago, you were like, oh, you get up early and that, and you're always tired, so you go to bed early and whatever. I've been getting up early, and days are fucking long, aren't they? Do you know how long days are? I have to get up at like 8 o'clock. And like, it feels great at like lunchtime. Because I'd often get up at like 11 o'clock. And then maybe like I'll lie in bed watching telly for a bit till 12. Right? So lunchtime is sort of when my day has started sometimes in the past. And at lunchtime now, I look at the clock and I'm like, I'd normally be getting up now. And I've got so much done. Like yesterday, got up, took my girlfriend to work.
Oh, God, it's another one of his fucking day diaries. This is brutal. Can I just pause it? Because this is about the 4th time he's done one of these. If I did this, the level of boredom in Adam's mind, he'd be like, lads, shut the fuck up. Do you think Prince Andrew gets bummed by his mum? Like, I love it how Adam's like, no, this is valid. I need to tell you all about my day to day. I have to literally tell him that one of my family members is dying before he's like, oh, that's interesting.
Who's dying?
Carry on. Give us the day to day. Buckle up, everyone. We've just been talking about the Queen getting bummed to death by her fucking vampire husband. And now we're going to have, I had a coffee at 9:15. I did some emails at 9:10. Go on.
So, took my girlfriend to work. She had to be there for 8 o'clock in the morning. So I was up at like fucking 7:15, right? On the way back, went to Asda, did a big shop. Come back, the car cleaners cleaned both of our cars. That's why I took it to work, so our car was still there, so we'd get it cleaned. Then I got like loads of stuff done. I had me lunch, right? Then
What did you have?
What?
What did you have?
A sandwich.
Oh.
And then, yeah, it was 12 o'clock, and I was like, oh my God, look how much I've got done.
That it?
Now you need to apologise. Apologise for that. Apologise for that. He is flying too close to the sun. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, God.
What did you do with the rest of the day?
That's the thing, there's too much of it. There's just fuck
And you
all
wonder
to do.
why I masturbate. It's part of the fucking filling the time, innit?
Yeah, but I can't be spaffing.
No?
No, I've got a lady. You know what I mean?
You'll save it up.
Yeah, I'm saving all my cum for you.
Oh, you're an old romantic. Are you allowed? Has she like got some weird level of control over you? Adam! Checking the fucking paper basket like there's no tissues in here. God.
I flushed them.
Oh, really?
Do you leave your cum rags just findable?
Cum rags. That makes it sound like you've got 2 tea towels that just come out like fucking cardboard.
I just use whatever undies I've just took off.
Sexy. The sad story was still going. Go on, tell us about your wanking.
Yeah, sometimes like, you know the undies that are on the floor?
That works so well.
You know the undies that are on the floor?
Adam is being gaslighted by his new girlfriend.
And then I'll just wipe
He's
wipe
not
it
allowed to
all
wank until she tells him.
And then those undies are going in the wash now anyway, aren't they? You know what I mean?
Lovely.
first time watching Have a Word. You're like, this is a weird one. No, it's not. It's standard fare. Yeah. So what's the next step? You're up early. What's the next step in the evolution of the man that is Adam Rowe?
I think it's going back to getting up late.
Yeah, because the gigs are going to come back. You're like, fuck that. The problem with gigs is you're still wired when you get home, aren't you? Like, you're still a bit whoa, stuff.
I can't sleep after the gig. But, like, there's just too much time. Do you know what I mean? There's too much time in a day. They're fucking long.
Do you fancy doing some subtitling?
It's just like, what do I do now? Me balls are empty. The kitchen's clean. What next?
Exercise?
Family. Innit? Family.
Engagement.
Family. Yes.
No.
Time for kids. You've got too much time?
I don't want a kid.
Time for kids. You do.
I don't.
It's happening.
I don't.
I'm telling you.
Then I'll have no time.
Yeah, it does flip the other way. Have
I
you ever
need a
tried
middle ground? Maybe I need
a dog.
Not a dog. No. Maybe
I feel like we've been very careful about that.
Maybe I should get into horseback riding or something.
Horseback riding?
That isn't good middle ground between kids.
I love it how you specify horseback. Because a lot of people do horse underneath riding, but there's a lot of dick, you know? Thing is, I'm Rowie Bags, yeah? I don't ride horses like every other cunt. Some people get on top of the horse. I was like, nah, I'm getting underneath the horse. Fucking hell, I'm upside down, I'm going dead fast. But I did get fucked by a horse. Massive dick, couldn't help it. Shouldn't have worn shorts. I'm horseback riding.
Do you recommend that though? If you think about having kids, go horseback riding first. See how you like that. If you can deal with horseback riding, go for family.
Yeah. Have you ridden horses?
No, but I've thought about it.
Yeah.
Next step.
I've stood next to a horse and imagined winning the Grand National.
Falling off a horse in New Zealand was one of the most stupid things I've ever been involved in. We went on a Lord of the Rings trek around we were in New Zealand on the South Island, and me and Bondi were out there, and we signed up for a horse trek. And I had ridden a horse when I was 9 at PGL, which is just basically walking, and you're on the horse, but it just walks. That was what I'd done. And so the woman was like, has anyone ever done any horse riding? And there was girls. It was all girls, because it's a fucking organised horse trek. It's not exactly like stag do o'clock, is it? So me and Bondi are there looking like a gay couple. There's loads of girls. Some of them are cute. The instructor's like, hiya, I want a big stallion. And halfway round, she was like, who wants to go faster? And I was just like, yeah, of course I want to go faster. It's horse riding, isn't it? I don't want a horse. I want a walking horse. I want to fucking go for it. And as soon as it set off, I was just out of control. And I started slipping to the right. It saw a puddle. I actually saw the little boggy bit. The horse went left and I just flew off, bruised my ribs, and I had to stand up and act like it wasn't a problem. And then I was really overweight because we've been just boozing for a month at the New Zealand Comedy Festival. And I couldn't get back on the horse. She jammed a hand under my arse. All of these girls were watching. Bondi was watching. And at the point where she couldn't quite get me on the horse, she went, oh, you're quite a big boy, aren't you? Oh. And wedged my fat alcoholic arse onto a horse. And that was worse than falling off. And Bondi afterwards, when your mates want to rip the piss out of you, that was fucking hilarious. He was like, it went beyond that. And I just felt pity for you. Because an attractive horse instructor was going, you fat cunt, get back on this horse. I feel bad for the horse. I would say about horse riding, it sounds fun, but they're not to be trusted horses. No.
If you get into
horse riding, people are going, oh, it's great fun. It's not. It's awful.
If you get into horseback riding, how long does it take before you get your jockey license? Where you can race them and that?
Honestly, I would, there's certain things we've talked about doing with this podcast. I would, if we go have a word horse riding, I am not going to be involved because I've fallen off that cunt and they're horrible. It would be great to see you, because you're so competitive that you do the same thing I did. That who wants to go faster, lad? I was born faster. Fucking see you going. Yeah, it'd be amazing.
It doesn't look that hard.
It doesn't look that hard, does it?
Now just riding a bike if you've never ridden one. But you got to
I can ride bikes as well.
Yeah, but you had to learn and you fell off. Got you.
Yeah, I suppose. Can you get all stabilizers?
Yeah, I was about to say, you can't have stabilizers for horse. 2 extra small legs next to the back legs.
Woo! Like a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I would love to see you, A, ride a horse, and then B, fall off one.
Yeah, but I'm worried about falling off one because like fucking Superman fell off a horse and fucked him, didn't he?
Yeah, if Superman died,
Yeah.
ordinary.
If it fucked Superman, what chance have I got?
Yeah. It fucked my pride. It fucked his life, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
I don't want.
do you know he's not Superman, though? When you said it, like, Superman didn't fall off a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know who he means, don't you?
Yeah, I
Christopher
know.
Reeve.
Christopher Reeves, wasn't it? Or is it
like,
Reeve?
but his reasoning was like, Superman could fall off a horse. So if he's Superman,
Yeah, but if you can play Superman,
if he's an actor,
you're in better physical shape than me, aren't you?
yeah.
No one's getting the Superman call if they're in worse physical
I would
condition
genuinely
than me.
like to have a jockey on. I think it'd be quite interesting to see.
AP
What?
McCoy. I've met him. He's sound.
I
got
think
his
it'd
email?
be interesting.
AP McCoy.
I'm getting to the point now where
Don't put
I
that
love
there.
having comedians on. It's sound, but I know their job and I know their life. Like I would love to start. I want a porn star. I would love to speak to an MMA like fighter, a UFC fighter, or a boxer.
Interesting.
I'd love to talk to a jockey to just see what their day to day is like.
I want a rodeo clown now.
Yeah.
After what we discussed on the latest Patreon episode, patreon.com/haveawordpod.
Leslie Harris, of course. Got to
Yeah.
be the GOAT.
Who's dead?
He's dead, isn't he?
Get his mum.
Who's based in Runcorn? That's the problem, isn't it?
rodeo clown.
Can we get a UK rodeo clown? Just some fucking Nancy clown like, oh, yeah, I do rodeos as well. I'm not
like-
allowed to do kids' parties since the incident.
That's like Doorman on Burger King, isn't it? UK rodeo clowns.
Can we get Sophie Anderson on if we're getting porn stars? Because she's surely the closest we've got.
I just can't imagine a porn
I want
star.
to get totally dick
I'm
fucked.
going to get totally dick fucked. I can't imagine someone coming up from Bristol to... But
We'll buy the fucking KFC in there.
what are the top jobs that we want on? What people doing? What jobs do we want on? Porn star, definitely. I've got some questions about squirting.
What are the questions?
landscape gardener.
Yeah, Alan Tishmash. That'd be fucking great, that. What about...
Good bit of banter that one, guys. Fire from Carl in the booth. Fucking hell.
Oh, hang on. I gave you the tennis ball. You fucking missed it, not me.
You gave me a flat piece of shit.
Landscape garden.
Long time, right?
At least Adam had a go.
Yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Thanks for that.
What about paedophile hunter?
Stinson, is it? Stinson.
Stinson hunter, yeah. What about guys who go hunting?
I know.
monsters?
The thing is, I would love to hear those guys talk about all the shit that's gone on in a pedo hunt. I just think they're horrible cunts. And I know, there's just an air of like, what they're doing, like trying to catch nonces, is absolutely valid. But though every time I watch a video, and this is how cunty they are. They make me sort of feel sorry for the pedo, which I think translates as you're just not very nice about it. I know, but then again, this shouldn't be nice.
It doesn't have to be content, though, does it? Catch them and shut up about it.
No, but
Yeah,
I think
you're
the
right.
reason they do it that way is they know that it's very hard to get a conviction, or certainly a good conviction. So a lot of time, people who are like grooming little girls and stuff, if they haven't actually fucked a child, they'll just get like a suspended sentence, or they'll get like put on the sex offenders register and released.
And
then-
sometimes it doesn't even stick because there's not proper evidence.
So the reason they put it out on social media is so that there's sort of vigilante style punishment of millions of people now know who you like. That little thanks for this, ruined my holiday. Like if I seen him in the
paedophile.
streets, I would know he's a paedophile now.
Yeah.
But like,
I think you'd have had an inkling anyway, though, wouldn't you? Mate, he's the goat of...
He's the goat.
He's the goat of people that got fucking paedophile hunted.
my
yeah,
holiday.
yeah. Thanks a lot. Well, thanks for this.
There was a guy...
Ruined my holiday.
There was a guy that was doing stand-up, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I know we can't say, but there was a guy who I'd literally gigged with.
I forget his name anyway.
I know his name. Because we got an email recently of someone with a similar name, and I went, the fuck? Really enjoying the podcast. I was like, I hope you're fucking not. And then it's not the guy. There was a guy that was doing gigs and got pedo hunted. Is it called pedo hunting? Am I calling
Like
it the
fox
wrong
hunting,
thing?
innit? They're on horseback.
They get pedos and then they like release them on the first horn.
But
The pedos are released.
limoncello breaks the scent. And they can just run off into the woods then.
Limoncello. Or the pedo's like, pedo hunter's like, what are you doing with that Italian liqueur? Nothing, no reason. A limoncello.
So yeah, paedophile hunter.
I'd love a
rodeo clown.
Hunter. I think we
All-star.
should. Can we do our own version of paedophile hunter? Have a word, paedophile hunter. That would be so good. Be like, lad, can you meet us at the Heath Business Park in Runcorn?
Give him a pass.
They're in the cafeteria. Finn, go and get the pedo and 2 ham and cheese toasties. Thank you.
I'd really, really, really like, and I know this would drive you mad, a proper conspiracy theorist. Someone who genuinely believes, like, I like winding you up, and I like conspiracies because I just think it's fun to even consider the fact that they're real. But like David Icke level, no, everyone's
Alex
controlling
Jones.
us. What?
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Oh,
He recently did Andrew Schultz's podcast, and it's been removed off YouTube.
Yeah, because I watched the trailer, and that was insane.
Yeah.
So here's my problem, and I know people are like got me as this massive anti-conspiracy thing. What happens then is it flicks over to when Eddie was in, and you were like, "What?" So you see, there is a conspiracy. The courts are rigged. Like, just because you're into one conspiracy doesn't mean you should be into all conspiracies.
No, they should take them on a case
just
by
because
case.
I reject the idea of a lot of conspiracies, there are still things that I think are rigged and dodgy as fuck. But I just don't like. The problem is when I've started taking the stance of all conspiracies are bullshit, but I don't know when you're being serious, and because you just start going, yeah, and you know the court system is legal, like dodgy and it's rigged and everything, and Hillary Clinton defo eats babies, like it's.
They come from the same place, them though, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's my problem with the conspiracies. It feels like when people go, I'm into conspiracies, they just start spouting all of the conspiracies, where I think you should be able to go, like, so what with the flat earth, because we had a flat earther get in touch really aggressively, like the week before last, going, we want to come on your podcast. And then people go, no, they should come on the podcast. Like, are we really going to have a flat earther going, it's flat? Like, is that a conspiracy that we're doing?
It'd be funny though.
We could though, but they've got to accept the fact that we're going to take the piss out of their entire identity.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they've got to come on and let us do what we do. But I think, because the thing is, proper conspiracy theorists reject the term conspiracy theorist. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone genuinely believes in all this stuff, they're like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That was actually invented to shut down people who question the JFK assassination. They're like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just know the truth. They're the people I want on. I don't want people going, I'm a conspiracy theorist, because they're doing what I do, which is be funny, or life's more interesting if a lot of these are real. Like, someone who genuinely believes that the Queen is a lizard and, like, we're all being monitored, and Bill Gates now knows when I'm doing my shopping and that.
Can we lead up to that level of truther? Because I feel like I don't want to start at the Queen is a lizard and Bill Gates eats kids. I think you need to ease me into it a little bit, like an Epstein. And do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like as a non-conspiracy guy, going straight to the Queen's a lizard might be a bit much in terms of
What about
podcasting.
Sean Atwood? Sean Atwood,
conspiracy guy.
he does all, like, his YouTube's very Epstein based and stuff like that.
Right.
And he's an ex-con.
Something.
Interesting man.
You know, the one that really rings true is the way this is being covered up with Prince Andrew. You're like, oh, this reeks. It reeks of the ruling class going, like they've done for fucking generations and generations. You're talking about Prince Philip having affairs. You're talking about what's happened to Prince Andrew. And then historically, the royal family covering up murder, covering up. It will have happened since the dawn of the royal family. Now, I suppose it's a bit more obvious because they've got the internet and journalists. I would love to hear someone get into that. I know it's fucking risky and I know it's probably libelous, but if you could do it cleverly, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. I think
So speak to your mates. Scottish John. It's fucking wrong, you know, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know in the comments below, and you can always email at haveawaypod@gmail.com. Any suggestions of the type of guest you'd like to have? Non-comedians. Yeah, so...
Tweet us.
At
Have a word pod.
It's when June comes, isn't it? Then we've got the open book.
God, Carl, I'm so fucking excited about the summer because we've been relying on our mates, people that are local, but once the restrictions are lifted, oh, fucking bring it on.
Yeah, it's going
Prince
off.
Andrew will be here. Yeah. I reckon. Seems.
Imagine if we got him on. Prince
lizard.
Andrew.
And then someone next to him calls
Emily
him a lizard.
Maitlis didn't quite, he didn't quite get all his words out properly. He's going to be sitting there, sweating, claiming he can't. We'll get him a Pizza Express in.
Oh, look at you. That's very deferential. All of us dickheads get KFC and you're getting him a Pizza Express.
Do you not get the reference?
Topical.
He went to a Pizza Express.
He didn't. He
said he did.
He was shagging a child at the time, allegedly.
If you're listening,
I love it when Adam's like, oh, he didn't go to a fucking Pizza Express. You know what he did? Yeah, the worst thing you can do. Wow. I think we should, shouldn't we? So let us know who you want as guests, especially if you've got an eye on anyone that's good on YouTube or podcasting, like conspiracy-wise. Not a full-blown lunatic.
And the first person to say Jack Mate gets banned off the channel, because we know you all want Jack Mate on. It is going to happen. It's just when restrictions lift. What's happening, guys? Are you on board the CBD oil train yet? Whether you are or you aren't, you should head to supremecbd.uk, one of the official sponsors of the Have a Word podcast, and get yourself some premium CBD oil product, from gummy bears to the oil itself. This stuff has got a million uses. It can help with anxiety. It can help you sleep. It can help with aches and pains. It's really, really brilliant. It's been helping me and a lot of other people. Now, if you go to supremecbd.uk and use the special promo code WORD, that's WORD, you get 30% off everything you order, and they slide us a little bit of money for sending you their way. That's how sponsorship works. They sponsor the podcast, we push you their way. It's a money game, baby, but you're going to get money off your CBD. And what's better than money off? Nothing. Go get it. supremecbd.uk.
We're starting now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's the magic of editing. Very professional, these guys. They know what they're doing. SNL question. Dear Dwayne The Rowe Johnson, Dave Bautista, Stone Cold Sensei Carl, and Vince McMahon. That's very well done, Thomas. Thomas has sent this in. All right, Lids, I know you prefer American comedy. I'm very much the same. A lot of my favourite comedians and actors got their big break on Saturday Night Live. That show has helped launch so many careers and has brought comedy to a massive audience for years now. It's become a prestigious thing for celebrities to host. So I thought it would be interesting to hear your take on whether a show like that could ever work over here. Do you think British comedy could make a show like that? Would the British audience embrace it? Would you like to be in the cast should it ever happen? And who do you think would be perfect for it? Keep up the brilliant work. Your pod has kept me sane over a year now while I've been shielding. Love you guys. That's from Thomas. I don't think I've ever watched a full episode of SNL, but I follow their clips channel because they have years of just amazing highlight clips of people that you'll love. Will Ferrell, Bill Hader, and Kate McKinnon, who's on it now.
She's great.
She's so good. If you've never watched loads of SNL stuff, I bet you've seen it by accident, but the Close Encounters clip, it's so well done. It's like their clips get about 5, 6, 7, 8 million views. That on YouTube's on 47, and it's just it's meant to be like the CIA interviewing these 3 rednecks that have been taken, sort of beamed up by aliens, and 2 of them have had this. It's Ryan Gosling, and 2 of them have had a really nice experience with, like, I don't know what you call it. I suppose you call it God. There was a blue light and it raised down on me, and I just knew then that everything would be all right. And then Kate McKinnon's at the end, and she's like, wow. Freaking different fucking experience. I had these little green men slapping my knockers. And there's about 47 of them, and one of them was at the door. It felt super not legit. He was kind of the lookout, and they were kind of gentle, not hurting, just sort of like
don't
flapping.
Don't you fucking dare touch my fucking tits.
That's what she does on the clip.
Well, let's leave it on the clip.
You're really touchy about your tits, aren't you?
Yeah.
You won't be milked. You won't be touched.
Yeah, weird like that.
You have changed.
You have changed. Fuck, it's almost like something you've got something to hide.
There's a lot
big nips.
There's a lot of SNL clips that I think are good. There's a lot that I think are a bit shit. I think it's a serviceable part of the American comedy industry because it does launch careers and stuff, and they do have some great guest hosts. I think they've got a very big budget because America's so big and it goes out. Or I think you would struggle budget wise to make something as good over here.
It's also a cultural thing, isn't it? That show, if it launched now, wouldn't work. But because it's been going for 50 years, it's part of the landscape of comedy. Like, Lorne Michaels who is the producer of it, is worth $500 million because it's done that kind of numbers. And you've got film stars all through the generations of like people that are on it have just become massive stars. So that also has gravitas. How would you start that over here? Who would you get? Like Nish Kumar, like, you know, like you'd even struggle to get him because it'd be like, it's a risk because it sounds like, would it be ITV that commissioned it? And then everyone's like, fucking don't trust ITV with it. Like, it's a weird one. Don't know how you'd ever get it off the ground.
Yeah, it'd just be the same people doing the same fucking shit they do on every other show over here. Like, TV comedy over here is just very samey. And we sort of discussed this on the Alfie Brown thing, is like we've spoke about it a billion times on this, but like there's a genuine need for diversifying talent in comedy and on TV over here. But it is putting people on TV now. That drive for diversity is putting people on TV who aren't ready for it, in my opinion. There's people who can't do club gigs who are doing 4 and 5 TV shows in a month on the telly, and then they're touring with an hour that isn't, it's just not at the standard that it used. Like 15 years ago, if you got a nationwide tour selling between 100 and 1,000 seats in venues, you'd done years on the circuit and you could fucking smash for an hour easily. It's just not like that anymore. And over there, what that Saturday Night Live would become would be, we need a cast that's very diverse. And, you know, there's a lot of great talent out there, but there's the talent that would be seen as ticking the right diverse box. A lot of them would be too big to be in the cast, certainly at the start of it. So you'd end up with quite a weak cast on a shoestring budget. Yeah, the show would be shit.
I bet they get 300-400 grand for a series, each actor. I bet their pay from SNL is massive. And crucially,
Google that, Saturday Night Live cast members.
The writers, if you go through all of the writers for SNL, historically, when you've seen all these famous people on it, you then go through like the list of people that have written for SNL, and they become giants because they're getting paid
$7,000 per episode, 21 episodes, so they get $147,000.
So they get $147,000, and then it also leads to like massive amounts of opportunities because it's being watched by 20, 30 million people or something ridiculous.
But that's for your first year. So like obviously after that you get renewed. So Keenan Thompson, who was in Keenan and Kel, he's on $25,000 per episode.
He's the longest serving ever, isn't he?
Yeah, Michael Shea, $15,000 per episode. Pete Davidson, $15,000. Like.
So so Kate McKinnon, I bet is one of the higher ones as well. But that's major talent, isn't it? Kate McKinnon's in films now,
$25,000 per episode.
So that equates to what, $600,000 for the series, doesn't it? Around that, mate. It's major money, and it brings in the talent. What's interesting about what Adam just said is all of the same, like, oh, we've got to have diversity and blah blah blah. It would be on a smaller budget. But who can do live sketches? Because I can't do pre-recorded advert reads. So I would...
You've got to be an actor.
I would love to see them try it because there's been so much shit that's been done over here that is samey. They've nicked this, they've nicked that. But that goes out live. Like, they do those sketches while... Like, they've got Louis... Their guests are amazing as well. So they are filming their scene, and if you watch these clips, you just get used to it. They're just looking off. They look like they're like was it 1,000-yard stare where they're just looking off? They've got someone behind them on a cue card with their fucking lines. Yeah. And then they drop that, and I would be fascinated to see just that, whether it went wrong or if it went really well. The amount of pressure would be fucking brutal. And then you've got the added layer of what happened with that Close Encounters clip. Ryan Gosling is a top actor. He's in some amazing
Hollywood
films.
Superstar.
He's a superstar, but he's good. Like, he's not just like a face. He's a good-looking lad or whatever. But he's
A-list, isn't he?
He's A-list, but he's talented. He's done some amazing roles. He sat there and got the giggles through Close Encounters, and the girl next to him, I don't know her name, was like, oh, he's getting emotional because he was like. Because it was so funny. So not only have you got to remember your shit, so, and the crowd know it. Some of the best clips of SNL are from, you watch it, don't you, Finn? From the dress rehearsals where all the audience are in, they run the whole show. before, and the cast know that like it's not going out, and the giggles are off the charts. I love, like, I know it's a wanky thing, but blooper reels are funny.
Yeah.
I would love to see British comedians under that level of pressure.
Well, the thing is, like, it goes back to sort of how America is further ahead of us when it comes to comedy. Like, Kenan Thompson is a comedy actor. He's not a stand-up comedian. I imagine at some point he'll do a stand-up special, or he's probably done it a bit. But he's a comedy actor. That's his thing. We don't really have that over here, do we? We have
Miranda and the girl from Fleabag, who's fucking brilliant.
Exactly, but it's rare because the country's so much smaller.
Yeah, there are some sketch shows that have gone on, like Big Train and Fast Show, where you call them comedy actors.
Yeah,
but here's a smaller pool.
Yeah, and when you pick them from a smaller pool, it's hard to get.
Look at Mock the Week. What's your man? Is it Hugh Dennis?
Yeah.
When they went to is it what was it called? Punt and Dennis. That was their sketch show. So when they started Mock the Week, they went to a non-comedian. They went to a comedy actor.
Yeah.
So would you do it? SNL, what would they call it? It'd be called what would it be called? It couldn't be called SNL, could it?
It probably could. They'd probably, like, if they did it, they'd probably license it, I think. I think they would. I think they'd have to if it was going to be sort of a
Or
copy.
they do like an Aldi version of it.
Yeah.
Friday night, not pre-recorded, from ITV Studios, featuring Adam Rowe.
I don't know.
So
I probably would do it.
Right.
But I think I'd get fucking... I don't think I'd last as long as Kenan Thompson has.
You know your stand-up sketch show that just went out last week, the week before last?
This week's as well.
You're on this week's.
So it'll be tonight. So when this episode goes public, if you watch the stand-up sketch show tonight for you two, it's episode 7 of series 3.
You've never really talked about the filming of that. I feel like I feel like people would be into that, because like what we do as stand-ups and what we do as podcasters is very sort of different from comedy acting. I've done a bit of like role play stuff at Edinburgh with The Noise Next Door, and I got away with it once and died hard the second time. Got in my own head, just froze up a little bit in a couple of moments, which is key. How did it go with the stand-up sketch show? How did those acting and the scenes, how did you find it? Because have you done a lot of stuff before that's like acting based?
No, I when I was a kid, I went to a drama class for 2 weeks, and then they mentioned the fees for it, and I never went back because my mum was like, fucking 70 quid a month. Fuck off, lad. Here's a $5. Go to the park.
Half not expected Adam to be like, yeah, 2 weeks in, I've learned to act. I'm pretty much the best actor ever. Bye-bye.
I never knew that, and no one in school knew that either.
No, I was in like year 7.
Kept that quiet.
So it was when I was still mates with me mate Matty, who I'd gone to little school with.
Yeah.
And he went to the Blue Coat school, and he started hanging around with a load of girls. And they went to this drama class.
Horse riding.
And the drama class was funded by the council, but there was no boys going to the class. So they basically got told, if you don't get some lads in, we're going to stop funding you, because it can't just be like, we need it to be multi-gendered or whatever.
So you were the Billy Elliot of amateur dramatics in
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Your dad like, you're not, you'll go play five-a-side. No, Dad, I want to tread the board.
So we went for a couple of weeks, and the teacher liked me. Whether that was just because I was there to take a diversity box and get her funding, but she was like,
yes,
yeah,
you actually found somewhere where you were the minority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adam gets all the good parts because he's a fucking man.
Yeah, and then she was like, yeah, it's 70 quid a month. And I went back to my mum and I was like, they want 70 quid a month. She was like, well, they can fucking swivel for that, kid. Yeah, the stand-up sketch show is great fun to record. So what they do is we record the stand-up like a couple of months in advance, and then I recorded 3 routines. They'd asked for 3 specific routines, because this year they got in touch with me agent and was like, we want Adam on again. What routines does he want to do on the show? So I sent them my YouTube channel and said, you can have any routine that's already out there. Pick
old
whatever.
stuff, innit?
And they went, right, we'll have these 3. So I recorded 3 routines. I recorded the arguments in Greg's.
That's the one that was been out already, isn't it?
Yeah, that's already gone out. I recorded the Is My Dick Good? me saying drunkenly to a girlfriend, have I got a good dick? And her saying it's nice, and me sort of saying that's not a compliment to a dick. That's the one going out this week. And the third one was Scouse dads, which they didn't end up using because normally they get you to record 3 and they use 2.
And last season you did the pegging one, didn't you? The dildo one.
Last season I did the pegging one.
The Russian one was the one before that, wasn't it?
But I think I did 2 last season. I can't remember what the other one was. But yeah, and in season 1 I did the Russian one.
Which I watched on the plane home from Japan, which is the fucking weirdest
Russian
thing.
neighbours. But what they do is...
we really laughed at the pegging one. Like, I think that's one of you. I love that bit of material. Going, if we're trying this, we're at least buying a new one. But it's one of those ones. I do not enjoy a lot of stand-up that's fucked with. But the watching you sat in bed with a girl that isn't your girl, just acting that out, just sort of added to it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. I think, the sketches can sometimes really add to it and they can sometimes take away from it because a lot of fun with stand-up is the audience picturing it. And the sketch does take away the audience's opportunity to picture it. So I think the sketch has to be really, really funny and it has to add something to it for it to make the stand-up better than it would have just been stand-up. The way they do it, you record the stand-up months in advance and then a couple of months later, they hire whatever place you need to do it in. So like they got an Airbnb for me to do the strap-on one. The Greg's one last week, they just hired a little bakery in London. And then you lip sync your own stand-up. So they just have a speaker like Carl's got there. And they go, right, action. And then they play my stand-up recording from a couple of months before. And I have to be there going, and this woman said, what? Get out.
And they've scripted, because the old woman spoke, didn't she? Did she lip sync a script?
She lip synced the stand-up.
Yeah.
She lip synced my stand-up.
But do they actually go, here's the script that you don't say out loud? Yeah. Or does she just listen and then copy it?
No, you get sent the script like a week in advance to learn your lip syncs.
I think it's amazing. You're getting a script to not read the lines?
Yeah. Well,
it's such a strange thing, isn't it?
I do read the lines.
Yeah.
So if I lip sync something, I think it just looks wrong. And I think when I watch the stand-up sketch show, I can tell when someone's done that. So I just say it out loud because they're not using the audio anyway.
Like German porn, badly done.
Yep.
Like,
I thought it was weird because I went to the recording of the stand-up bit.
Yeah.
Was that in August when you did your little
Just when I came home, yeah. So I was there and I thought it was weird that they had your joke written down.
Yeah.
And they go, right, you just need to say this next. Or you go, what am I up to? I was like, there's really sanitized version of him doing the joke. Like,
yeah, because it can't be, there can't be a word out of place, can there?
No, well, that was in the rehearsal, wasn't it? Which they do sometimes use.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it was just
so. Yeah, I haven't mentioned that. So when you record the stand-up sketch show in the evening, there's an audience there, and you go on and you do your stand-up.
But there wasn't because it was COVID. That was the weird bit.
No, but there was in the evening.
But, I mean, it was only. Oh shit! You had the second one. Yeah.
In the afternoon.
You're thinking of Jonathan Ross, are you?
No, because I went to both.
Right.
So in the evening, there's an audience there. Obviously, it was like 50% capacity or something because of COVID. But in the afternoon, even before COVID, even in series 1 and 2, in the afternoon, you go on stage in the afternoon to no one in the room, in the same comedy club. It's just the 2 producers in the room and the camera guys.
And do your set.
And you do your set.
And is the camera like...
Yeah, they record it as if it's stand-up. and they tell you, you've got to perform this like you would do stand-up. Because if you fuck up a line tonight, if you fluff it, we will use the footage of this and slide it in, and we'll do a close-up so that you can't tell the audience isn't in there.
And they're like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, and like if you
got to learn it. You've got to learn these disciplines as a comic because there's times you have to do weird stuff like this.
But that's the thing. Like I love the lads who make the stand-up sketch show. It's made by Pete Strauss and Matt Campion. They're the co-creators of the stand-up sketch show.
Hi guys.
They run Spirit Media.
Hi, it'd be great to meet you on set.
They run Spirit Media. The Dead Sound.
I've heard that. I've heard really good people.
Yeah,
great humans.
Yeah, fantastic.
Sorry, I think I've got a Strauss pube in mum.
But I am. We've had a couple of things recently that we've spoke about with regards to the comedy industry and stuff, which we won't go into too much detail.
Yes, we have.
And I'm getting a bit. It's because of this. I love doing this podcast so much, and I love doing proper stand up in a comedy club and on my own tours.
Apart from when I touch his tit. Go on.
I don't really care about doing telly anymore. Like the shows I want to do Live at the Apollo because it's the show that got me into stand up and it's the biggest show in like stand-up history. I love Would I Lie to You. I think I'd be fucking good on it. And I like
Taskmaster
as well.
Yeah.
But they're fun. Like, and the stand-up sketch show I like doing. But when like a new panel show pops up on like ITV2 or E4 or whatever, and there's like loads of comedians clamoring to do it, I don't give a shit. And if this Saturday Night Live thing come up, if I got offered the first season, I think might go, I'm gonna let y'all jump on that grenade over there, and I'll wait till season 2 and see.
Yeah.
See.
I think you're getting clever at playing the game, aren't you? So if Lorne Michaels, one of the biggest producers in American comedy, was one of the producers of the UK one, you'd be like, this looks like it's got a budget.
Yeah.
And if Jonathan Ross was involved or something, you'd be like, oh, well, you know what I mean? Like if there was names, but if it's just going to be the same people that are now basically like the C team on Mock the Week.
Yeah.
Because it feels like when I catch Mock the Week, you've got like the guys who didn't move on.
Yeah.
No offense, but that's true.
Yep.
The guys who are virtually household names, but haven't done what Frankie Boyle or Russell Howard have achieved and sort of got stuck there going, it's kind of a decent earnings and it helps us sell tickets, but it all feels like they're stuck. And then you've got the guys that we know that are getting the crack at it. Like Washi was on it and like Josh Jones, who are like the polar opposite. They're coming up.
Yeah.
I bet that dressing room before that is an eggy place. I bet Mock the Week dressing room is like Jonglers was when I was there like 15 years ago going, oh, you're the old boys and you think you run the show. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're an absolute fucking delight. But I bet it's a bit like dry and like I
also know what people get paid for Mock the Week, which is essentially fuck all. Because so you get $1,000 to do Mock the Week. You get £1,000.
Fuck all.
No, but like
no, it is.
I know
for TV it is.
I know no, but it's not $1,000, is it? So I know to our working class listeners, £1,000 to what looks like sit round and have a laugh for a couple of hours seems like a lot of money.
I would not be having a laugh on Mock the Week. That would not make me.
Your agent takes 20% immediately, so you're down to 800.
I haven't got one. Nice
you
one.
need to pay a writer for a day's work or two.
I've got Finn,
and they're £400 a day.
No, they're not.
So often, someone on Mock the Week isn't getting paid to be on it. They're doing it for the exposure, and it's a week of stress. And then apparently, I've been told from people who've been on it that I won't name because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. You can spend, they will go, right, here's the topics we're going to talk about, because it's not off the cuff. Like, regardless of what.
No, it's definitely not.
It's well written, well ahead of time. So I know people who've been on it who have been told, right, you get £1,000. And then their agent has gone, right, well, I've took my £200, you got 800. But if I was you, I'd spend that 800 on 2 writers, give them a day each, and then you've got enough jokes and you can smash it, and then we get asked back. And that's when you start making money, because that's how the industry works. And then when you get your second episode, you're like, you don't want to follow that up with a limp one. So why don't we get those 2 writers? They did a great job last time, didn't they?
And who are the writers represented by? Well, surprise, surprise, I represent them as well.
And I know people who've done that, spent their entire fee on writers and got like a load of jokes. And then they've gone to the producers and gone, here's my jokes. And they've gone, well, let's just have a look. No, so that's too similar to one that Hugh's doing. And Dara's going to do that, so you can't do that. But those 2 at the end there, if you just do both of them, then we'll make sure one of them goes in the record.
Oh, God.
So people are spending a week, and like, not to sort of be the fucking privileged man, and I do telly and it's dead hard.
As well that got across that.
I do telly and it's dead hard and do that shtick, but like, it's stressful writing for telly. When I did Roast Battle, it was fucking stressful because I wrote 60 odd jokes and they were all rejected. And it took ages and ages for Roast Battle, the offensive TV show, the show where your job is to offend the person in front of you, and you've got lawyers going, I can't say that, that's offensive. This is what your show is. So imagine doing, and that's on Comedy Central, which is a non-terrestrial, non-publicly funded, supposed to be offended TV show. And that was hard to get things cleared for. Imagine trying to get stuff cleared for 8 o'clock Monday night, BBC, when there's 3 people on the show who've been there for years who get first dibs on the type of joke to say. I want to do TV that I think looks fun. And obviously, you know, I want a career and I want to be touring and I want to be doing all of that sorts of stuff. But I'm like, when I started stand-up, I wanted to be on every TV show. I wanted to do all of it. And I wanted to sort of be famous for stand-up. And the more I get into little glimpses of what that might be like, the less I want it. And I think I want to be successful on my own terms a lot more than successful because a gatekeeper has gone, here's a thing.
God bless these fucking
do you know what I mean?
walls. Yes, mate, I absolutely do. We've just had a weird few weeks of this podcast where we've really upset some people, and then we've had to navigate how we deal with that, and agents get involved, and we have to make a judgment call, and it all starts feeling like that writing process of like, can't say that, can't say that, can't say that, oh, that's a bit risque, which is not what we built this on and not why we love it. No. Like, you are accountable to the shit you say. I get it. You're still a fucking person. You can claim you're a comedian. You can claim you're a podcaster. You're still a human that has to interact with other humans online and in real life. However, I would never want this podcast to end up in that process, that logistical, creative process where agents, managers, sponsors, producers have a say of going through these notes and going, right, Dan, the prep for today's pod. No, you can't ask that. No, you can't ask that. Imagine like that first section that we just ran off. Before Adam gave his pretty fucking detailed breakdown of his morning. Had a croissant, 9:15. Imagine how many times that would have been stopped.
On the BBC, the
how many
Queen
times?
gets bummed.
Basically, this episode...
Tied up in a dungeon and bummed to death.
This episode...
So there was a witness necessary so that they could make sure she was definitely bummed to death and it wasn't suspicious circumstances.
And that's TV licence payers.
Yeah. The episode would have started out...
Do you know
Adam going, I got up early.
Fucking no.
Mate, I hope we never end up in that sort of fucking game.
Also, like, our MO, literally from the start, we never at times we're offensive on this podcast and we say inappropriate things, and we never, when we put this podcast together, it was never like, that's what we're going to do. It's gone that way because the MO we set out, literally word for word, is if I can make you laugh and you make me laugh, as comics, people are going to be pissing themselves. That's literally what we said from the start, wasn't it? Like, from week one, it was let's try and make each other laugh and that'll reach the people at home. And comedy, at its core, and this is the reason people don't like seeing the same jokes 2 tours in a row, comes from surprise. And it's very, very difficult to surprise another comic because most comics can see where you're going. So the reason that this has become the inappropriate, like, offensive podcast is because it has to be for me to make Dan Nightingale laugh, and it has to be for Dan Nightingale to make Adam Rowe laugh, and that's what we do on here, and that's why we crossed the line, and that's why we will continue to cross the line. And okay, sometimes people are going to go, that's not right. We don't think it's right. We're not doing it. To quote the great Dave Chappelle, we're not doing this to be right. We didn't come here to be right. We had when that kicked off a couple of weeks ago, when we got some complaints about a clip we put out on Twitter. And if you are a patron of this podcast, you know in detail that we won't go into today what it was about. When that kicked off, there was people going, they need educating on these subjects. And it's like, no, we don't, because we don't want to be right about them. We want to be funny about them. And the funny comes from being wrong. We're not trying to educate people. We're trying to make another dickhead sat a yard away piss himself laughing.
People really
That's what we try and do.
Struggle with the boundaries of like spoken word and being absurd to make people laugh. Like satire and jokes and absurdity is meant to be funny. It's meant to elicit a response. If it was all just factual, it wouldn't work as comedy every time. Like, people just get this weird thing of like, well, that didn't make me laugh, and therefore I feel like it's an offensive statement. You're like, that's not how it works. Like, some of these things are meant to be absurd.
Yeah.
They're not meant to believe them wholeheartedly. Like, they're silly. They're trying to make you laugh. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. But just because you don't agree that it's funny doesn't mean that you're like, we need to shut it down. Like, good grief, guys.
Freddie Quinn made a really good point.
That's what producers do, isn't it? Before it happens, they try and stop the problem before it happens.
Yeah.
Nah, we go the other way. We have the problem and then backtrack from there.
We didn't really backtrack, are we?
I know.
It's just, we're fucking around. That's why we're here. We're here to make a jet laugh. Get your dick out. Let me flick it.
I'm not getting my dick out if I can't touch your nipples. Go on, what did Freddie say?
Touch his dick with your nipples. Touch his nipples with your dick.
Freddie said it's... it's quite interesting the scrutiny offensive comedy gets put under, because if you go and see a comedian and he's upside down with a bucket on his head talking with his feet and it's just absurd surrealist nonsense and you're not into that, people just go, I don't like that, that's not for me, and they leave and they never talk about it again. And he's like, why can't people do that with offensive comedy and go, that's not for me, so I just won't watch that? Do you know what I mean?
Just turn it off.
Just turn it off. Not happening anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing with the internet. Here we are on our little corner. Well, I had to type in the name of the podcast.
I love
and
he said
subscribe.
just look away. He said, how does it exist? Just don't look at it.
I love Tom Segura's routine on his ball hog special when he's like, people come up to him after shows and tell him they're offended by jokes. He's like, you've got the right to be offended. You don't have the right to expect anyone to do anything about it. He says, my children come up to me sometimes and one of them will go, it's loud over there. And I'll go, is it? Well, then don't go over there. And then, okay. And like, good. And then I kiss him on the head. And that's how I'm going to start dealing with adults who get upset by jokes at comedy shows. Well, you should never hear anything you don't want to hear. So, bye-bye. You stay home now.
Oh my God, ball hog, so good. It starts with that thing about the kid at the park, hurting his kid, and he was like, "I will
shit, motherfucker, come on my balls, eat my shit, eat my ass."
Just the way he threatens to like fucking hurt another child.
I'll kick your chest through your back.
But it's so funny because as a parent, you're like, "Oh my God, that articulates exactly how you feel." Like Etta got scratched by a girl at nursery who's 3. And Etta was 3. It's a fair fight. She maybe lost a fight. But nursery were like, right, Etta has been scratched. And you're like, all right, cool. Well, turns out I'm going to have to punch a 3-year-old in the fucking head. So you're going to take Etta home? Like, no, she's in the car. I'm just waiting to see Sophia.
By the gates.
Do you know where Sophia is? Yeah, Etta's dad wants to see her.
That's the only thing I'm worried about being a parent. The only thing.
Kicking the fuck out of a 3-year-old.
Do you know if someone hurts someone I love, right? Like genuinely, I've got there's no threshold for tolerance for me. Like I'm more likely, if you upset me or attack me, I'm more likely to let that go than if someone hurts Carl, me little brother, me dad, me missus, me cousin, me auntie. I will kill someone. And I will go to prison with a smile on my face. I'll wink at the judge as he sends me down for 20 years. I really, really will. And if it's my flesh and blood, my child that I've raised, if another child hates that, if I go to the parent and I'm like, your child hate mine and we need to sort it out. If that parent has got any level of non-remorse, I'll end up in a cell. And I know it's coming and I really don't know how to handle it.
I am not joking. I literally look at my daughter and I go, you know when people have children die and stuff, I will not be like, I forgive. I just hope they get the counselling in prison. I will murder that person. Yeah. And I'll be like, do you know what? My whole life is ruined anyway, so I might as well have a ruined life in prison going, yeah, but at least it's 1-1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how that will go down.
3-1
and if someone kills Laura, I'll be fuming. Fuming. No. That I'll be pissed off about. Dead, I'll be fuming. But if someone kills my daughter, there'll be a murder.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll be a murder. Oh, there'll be a murder.
What?
Oh. I'd get you involved.
Yeah.
I reckon you know. We'll do it on Patreon.
Tag it.
Dan's revenge murder.
Remember,
this week,
half an hour's notice, I'll be there with 2 bazookas and an Uzi.
Get Scottish John on the phone. We're going for revenge murder.
You can't kill someone for revenge with a bazooka.
Yes, it would be the most satisfying. You hurt a member of my family. Stay there. In Liverpool, is that Adam Rowe with a bazooka? Oh, shit.
Love the podcast, lad. Nice one, mate. Oh, fuck.
Can I have a picture? 2 seconds. Do
you know, last week, they might be listening to this. So, I took my girlfriend to get her vaccination. She's
just remember this is a public episode.
Yeah, yes it is. Took my girlfriend to get her vaccination.
So pregnant and annoyed. Oh, shit.
And while she was in there, 2 people stopped and mentioned the podcast. And the first one went, Adam bro, loving the podcasts, mate, keep them up. And he just drove off. And the second one, This is, Diners Lane,
Yeah.
like in sort of the Heighton, Page, Mossy area of Liverpool. Rough as fuck. And me missus was getting a jab at a chemist. That's where they're doing it. They've turned the chemist into a vaccination
I
centre.
love these changing places. Yeah, it used to be a pet shop, and now they do vaccinations. You get a free mouse. Go on.
But this fella stopped, like, in this shithole of a car. I'm sorry. And he was like, Adam, you all right, lads? Are you with Dan? And I was like...
What's that? I'm just trying to touch his dick with my nipples.
I was like, why the fuck would I be with Dan Nightingale? Waiting outside a cat. Do you think I've brought Dan for his vaccination in Diners Lane in Liverpool? For fuck's sake. Where are you with Dan? Yeah.
There he is.
Getting his Danny jabs, isn't he?
Amazing. I love it when
that guy.
I love it when I love it. Right, guys, I can't believe I've just threatened murder on someone that doesn't exist, but it felt actually quite good to do it. We've got a mate of ours coming on. I'm really looking forward to chatting to him.
Mortal enemy. Yeah. Elliot Steele is our guest today. I've had a fight with this lad in the past. Punched him in the face dead hard. It was good.
He's a good egg.
Got a couple of stories I'm looking forward to telling with Elliot. So tune in after the break from the Money Cunts. Happening, lads, do you like a cheeky little gamble on the old sporting world? Well, I do, but I'm sick of getting beat by the bookies. Now, I've been going to bettinggods.com since they started sponsoring this podcast. They're a great sponsor to have on board, and they are the best tipsters in the betting game. Anything from tennis to ice hockey to footy, rugby, horse racing. If you want tips when it comes to betting, head to bettinggods.com right now, and they've got all sorts to help you beat the bookies and get a few winners. Go get some winners. Don't be a loser. You don't want to be losing your bets. You want to be winning your bets. Bettinggods.com. They're going to help you do that.
We are back.
Are you ticklish?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really? Like,
No, I didn't know. I've not consented. I'm just saying,
because I'm really ticklish, but me missus, it's really annoying because normally when I've been in past relationships, if someone pisses me off, you just tickle them and they fuck off. She's not ticklish. Anyway, Elliot Steele's here.
What an opening.
Do you want to expand on it? I think there's nothing more off-putting than when you're trying to tickle someone and they're like,
yeah, she's not ticklish.
it does nothing to me.
There's one little spot on her and it's like here. That's ticklish, but the rest of her, fuck all me.
Elliot, that's what we've brought you up for.
Thank you.
We're really hard-hitting, we're edgy, we're pissing off some minority groups. Are you ticklish?
Well, I don't want to offend any of the ticklish community.
You got to watch out about ticklish Twitter.
I'm quite...
They're a bit touchy.
I'm an annoying person to tickle because I kick when I'm tickled. I'm like, I proper giggle and like laugh, but it's torture. So everyone around you thinks you're having
people.
A proper like like Japanese schoolgirl level kind of.
You have sort of convulsions, and you've trained as a kickboxer, so that's a dangerous.
It's my best move. I've just got to hope the opponent tickles me.
What fighting are you still doing? Because you've trained.
I haven't for the last year. I'd picked up jiu-jitsu. I say pick it up, but I was terrible at it. I was just white belt, but then I've done Muay Thai for about 3-4 years, and then
Can I tell that story?
boxing.
No.
Oh, if we're going to tell the most embarrassing story of my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Of course we could tell this story.
There you go.
So
Elliot, straight into this podcast.
I'm going to jump in at places just to put a bit... I come across as a dickhead.
No, you don't. You don't. I don't. Not the way I'm going to tell it.
Do you know the second half to this story?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
so you can fill that in. So, me and Elliot a couple of years ago at the Edinburgh Festival. You know Rich Massara?
I do, yeah.
Our friend. He started at a similar time to me. Comic based in Manchester. You know this is a story I was on about.
Yeah.
So he does a show at the Edinburgh Festival every year. I don't even know what it's called, but essentially 2 comics. It's at the Banshees Labyrinth. Is that the one? In the little cinema room that they have. So there's about 50, 60 people in there. It's full. It's free to get in. And the concept of the show is, at the Free Fringe people pay a donation at the end. Well, he doesn't do that. He has 2 comics on stage with him and a movie playing, right? And it's the comic's job to take the piss out of the film and just be like, what the fuck's going on here? So the added little extra to it is, instead of donating at the end, like every 15 minutes of the show, they have a whip round in the audience, and then the venue, give them a bottle of Jägermeister at cost, which is about 20 quid. So he gets 20 quid off the whole audience. They all put like 50p in. And then he goes and gets a bottle of Jaeger or two, whatever he's got enough for. And everyone just gets free Jägermeister. It's just a piss up while two comics are taking the piss out of a film. And me and Elliot did Armageddon.
Well, no. You were like, do you want to do it with me? I went, yeah. You picked Armageddon. I went, great. Armageddon's 3 hours long. It's a 3.5 hour film, and the whole point of the show is you get pissed. And Daniel Adam chooses this epic of a film, and then so I'm there just. Well, yeah. Then we got tanked.
How do you get a venue for 3 hours of a film?
Because it's like it doesn't start till like midnight.
Oh, it's the late show.
It's not a family and kids show at 12 in the afternoon.
Little Timmy, have your Jaeger, kid. Sort that cough right out. So we got absolutely hammered.
You love Armageddon, it's so funny.
Don't love Armageddon. Well, I do actually love Armageddon, yeah. I don't know why I got defensive about it. I fucking don't. I don't love Armageddon.
I just think it's really fun.
I'm just a Steve Buscemi fan.
It is the most ridiculous, like Michael Bay kind of there's the bit where all I remember is when they go to get one of the drillers who they've got to send to space to blow up an asteroid. Yeah, that is the plot. That is it, right? They do it with like rap music, and all these like helicopters are coming over to get him, and you just go, you could just phone him. You could just, surely there's like NASA or somebody who just has this guy's number. You don't have to send the whole army in.
They have to come and see you.
Yeah. Hey mate, by the way, we've just got a job for you if you can decide.
Have you seen the interview with Ben Affleck? Where he gets asked, basically, because for those who don't know the plot of Armageddon, there's an asteroid heading to Earth, and NASA figured out that the only way to stop it is to fly to the asteroid, land on it, and drill a hole and put a nuclear weapon in it to blow it up.
Yeah.
So what they do is they go to Bruce Willis and his drilling team, and they send them to space to do the drilling to put the thing.
They all work on the offshore rigs, is that right?
Yeah. They're all like oil drillers.
And they're quite the bunch of characters.
Oh, Dan, you would not believe it.
Oh, pretty varied bunch of rogues. They don't like taking orders from the establishment.
But there's an interview with Ben Affleck where they go, did you have a question?
And there's a black one. Sorry.
But when they put their differences aside, they get the job done.
They come from different places.
Maybe if we all work together in society with our differences and had a black one, we could put it all. We could all work it out.
What a borderline racist allegory.
I think that's the moral of Armageddon. I think that's what they were going for. Get yourself a black friend. You can save the world.
Yeah. Same as Thundercats. Go on.
But there's an interview with Ben Affleck where he basically, the interviewer says something along the line, and I'm paraphrasing, he goes, did you ever think at some point during the filming that maybe it would have been easier to teach astronauts how to drill rather than drillers how to be astronauts? And he just goes, yeah, next question.
No. He goes, I asked Michael Bay. He goes, I brought this up to Michael Bay, and he just went, shut the fuck up. Like, you know when you're making a script or something, you're like, I got my A plot, B plot, C plot. Now let's look through if there's any holes. And in the writer's room, they went, well, there's that big one. And they just went, no one will notice.
No one wants to notice. If you're sat during Armageddon going, oh, this really isn't, this is ridiculous. I love it. Fucking astronauts look boring. You definitely want drilling teams.
Well, they're the most calm people in the world. If you ever watch an interview.
They're healthy. They sleep a lot. They're like in good shape.
Drillers.
Calm. No, the astronauts.
Yeah, they if you ever watch an interview with them, they're like, and then there was a time we were circling this bit of the earth, and something went wrong. And
they're completely boring
we worked
cunts.
Together and we fixed it. And you're like, no, I want explosion, and you met an alien, and now
Bruce Willis and his team of fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they just Valium up all astronauts? So they're all... is Valium a pick-up one? What's the one?
No, Valium's
a
leveler. Calmer, isn't it?
Maybe they're all just Valiumed off their tits, and that's the key to being an astronaut.
I think they just pick people that are calm and boring and can handle all of that. Oh, God, one of the engines has exploded. Oh, we'll just get on with it.
Yeah, you
can't have you going, lad, Houston, we've got a big content problem. No, I'm not joking, lad. My health anxiety has gone through the fucking roof.
Yeah, don't want to hear a big bang. That'd scare you. The next thing you don't want to hear is the person in charge going, like, just crying in the corner. You're not gonna.
Amazing.
We are fucked. Fancy faced on the phone. I need to ring me dad.
I've seen someone.
Tell him to feed the fucking dog.
I've seen Adam deal with Mackey's getting his order wrong. I would not want to be with him on the International Space Station. We're on a collision course with an astronaut.
Oh my God.
Be a good astronaut.
So what happened during Armageddon, the view?
So we
what
got-
a dangerous game that is. 2 bottles of Jägermeister, a midnight showing of Armageddon, and you two lids.
It was 2 at a time. It was 2 bottles of Jägermeister between 50 people every 15 minutes. Like, it was a
chaos.
constant onslaught. And we've got beers while we're doing it as well. It's just it was like
it was like the lockdown lock-in by the sounds of it.
It was worse than that.
Oh,
so
right.
we're hammered.
Yeah,
all
there's
of us
like
had our
an
tops
audience
off.
cheering you on. Just at the end of the story, I went sober for 3 months and ended up in therapy. Rob Mulholland's still sober. That was
That's from the same night. So at one point, the entire audience had their tops off, including the women. Like, tops off. The whole audience were all singing, doing selfies. I'm sure I've got a video we can slide in here, maybe, on my phone at some point from that night.
Oh God, there's no video evidence of that night.
I think there might be.
Your phone has got so many videos and pictures. It's a massive, like, Adam goes, oh, you remember that thing from last year?
Yeah.
There it is.
iCloud
Yeah.
I delete
storage.
everything.
Yeah.
You pay for iCloud storage. You can keep receipts on everything.
Adam, one time
Amazing.
on Facebook, I was out with Adam in Liverpool Street, and I just started buying nitrous oxide off these really dodgy guys, and just started hammering it.
Yeah.
And Adam decided he should film it, and then like a couple of weeks later, just on Facebook, there's this video of me fucks going, yeah, bro, we're doing that, and I'm like, take that down. my nan's on it.
Yeah,
He's
Facebook.
doing. He got some balloons, and I was like, I don't do drugs, lad. I'm not doing them. And he's like, we need to get some more. Just in the middle of Shoreditch.
I am in no position to judge at this. Last time me and Elliot gigged together, I don't know how much detail we could go into,
Yeah,
but
we
we
could go into it.
basically got some fucking drugs and went for a 3-hour walk. We were like, yeah, should we get some stuff in? We were like, yeah.
3-hour walk.
Dan,
We didn't have anywhere to go. The hotel rooms were tiny. It was quite a nice, mild evening. So we basically got coked up and had a 3-hour walk around Brighton. It was fucking great.
Dan does drugs like a dad. That's all I can say. Like, he does it like a dad who's away for the weekend. This is his one, like, you could tell this is his one thing. And he's like, no fucking about, mate. By midnight, I'm in bed because I'm up tomorrow.
This is the best. This is the best. We did some, then went for a massive walk. We were still like a bit high and we had some left. So we basically went to the hotel, did some more, and then went, should we go out for another walk? So we did 2 halves to it. I honestly chatted every bit of shit under the sun. And Brighton's one of those places that you can walk around bollocks at like midnight and it's not a hassle. There's some towns and town centres where it's not a great idea. But Brighton, they were like, what, mate? What? It was fucking
Yeah,
brilliant.
but you don't want to be doing that in Birmingham, do you?
I don't know. I always think of like some of those like towns like Middlesbrough. I don't think a 1 a.m. coked up walk around Middlesbrough town centre is the best
let's
idea.
go look at that trolley and that burnt out car again.
Were you there that night in Brighton?
No, I wasn't there for that.
No,
but
you weren't there.
I was in the group chat because I heard of the disgrace you made of yourself.
Yeah.
What happened in Brighton, Adam?
I just got my dick out and had a piss on the dance floor.
I'm not even kidding.
You've done that before.
Is that Sophie Ellis
He's done that
Bextor?
He's pissing on the dance floor.
Right, that's Adam's dance
He's
move.
ruined
No
their
one wants
fucking
it.
shoes.
And now there's no more room because he's got a big fucking weapon.
Yeah, I'm never in more of a state than when I hang out with that clique of lads.
We've calmed down a little bit, I think.
Yeah, but a little bit for that is still high level, innit?
Yeah, I mean, it was like a group of like, it very much like toxic masculinity. We could do this. But I think there's a lot more career orientation, especially from myself, because like, I fucked up that fringe.
Yeah,
like I totally fucked that up because I was.
It's easy to do, innit?
Oh, I had a great time. But when the month ends and everyone's like, no, we're going back to get on with our careers and lives that we formed for myself. And I'm like, I haven't even paid off my Coke debt, let alone the flyers. And
You've been for so many walks. So what, the Armageddon night?
So we're hammered, tops off, we're singing I Don't Want to Miss a Thing at the end of the film, towards the end of it. Or maybe that was halfway through the film.
Dude,
I don't think we got near the end.
Get anywhere near the end of that film.
Is it Aerosmith?
Elliot went out for a ciggy. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I went out for a cigarette.
You left the building for a reason.
This is where I disgrace myself, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's when the doorman went to him, you're not coming back in.
I was just in my boxers, by the way.
Your own show.
Yeah, I was just in my boxers, and I've walked out and I'm like in a pair of shoes just having a cigarette. And to be fair, this doorman has every right to go, nah, this is like an establishment.
And he's like, but me pants are in there.
So I'm going, yeah, I remember that. I was trying to plead with him and go, well, what do I do here, mate? Do I just walk off with no clothes, or can I at least go get them? If I could go get them, you might as well let me stay, because I've just put them on. The only issue is I'm not in clothes. That's all the issue is here. The clothes are in here. So if you just let me in there to either get them and leave, I've still got to put them on. It's problem solved.
He's like, mate, listen, I've got no clothes on. What name is anyone in there? You can't be excluding people in clothes.
Was that Kevin Webster? I'm not naked for Rosa.
That's what I do after a few Jaegers. I turn Geordie for some reason.
And then I believe you threatened to beat the doorman up.
I did it. Did it. There was.
And he said, "I know my tie. I know my tie. I train my tie."
It got to that point where he was like, he did that doorman thing of, I understand why he's not letting me in, but he's gone to that point of, well, fuck you. Like, so
I've made my decision, and I will not be reasoned
You're now coming at me with, like anyone with a modicum of power, you're coming at me with a level of logic of like, hey dude, it's a show where we all drink. My mates, for some reason, chose a 5-day film. We're all going to have these Jaegers. Someone's going to end up without clothes on. If it's just that, be grateful. You know what I mean? No, probably not my best point I've ever made. But do you know what? Saying it back is kind of right, isn't it?
You can't allow someone to play Armageddon with Jägermeister and expect them to keep the
He's a bouncer at a venue at the Edinburgh Festival. It's not like he's like at All Bar One Cheltenham. You know, like, he's like, we've never had any behaviour like this. What, an international arts festival? No one's ever acted the twat.
If this was Richard Osman, it would be a completely different story. If I was him, they'd welcome me in. But so he wasn't letting me in. He then got, I think, a bit threatening, and I was like, oh, cool, because I was drunk. He would have fucked me up. He would have beat seven. You know, he would have beat the crap out of me.
And you're in your underpants.
And I'm in my underpants. You don't
ready for the fight though, like a UFC fight.
I don't think you want to get twatted in your knickers.
No, you don't want to be the guy known as he was ready for the fight and still lost it. He came prepared in all the gear. It's like if you turn up to the gym in the full UFC kit. You know what I mean? It was going to be a comment, mate. And then you still lost the fight. No, yeah. And
if anyone turns up a 5-a-side and shin pads, they're going in goal.
Yeah.
It's equivalent of someone turning up in like yellow boots or like pink boots.
Yeah, you better be good.
So I got turned away, but that's the same night that I ended up kissing Kate Smurthwaite.
Oh, yeah. Was that night?
That was that night.
Oh, fuck. You know who Kate Smurthwaite is?
Why has that made me nervous, him saying that out loud?
So Kate Smurthwaite is a feminist activist as well as comedian who is...
Couldn't have said comedian first.
Is she not coming on this in a few weeks?
Yeah. She's the next... She's here tonight!
Hi, Kate.
I think, Elliot, and forgive me for saying this if you think it's inaccurate, I think you are the antithesis of everything she stands for as a human being.
Everything she stands for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you should be the last. Like, if there was a queue of men, if Tinder was real life and she put them in order of who she would kiss,
but this is the thing,
you'd be near the back of that queue.
But I learned a lesson from Armageddon to put our differences aside and come together in this lovely.
I don't want to fall asleep because I'm this big.
The fella from the Green Mile in the loft bar going, leaving on and champagne.
Yeah, it was.
She's the very antithesis of everything you stand for, but a great kisser.
She's great. She's very gentle. Because we did our first ever Edinburgh Fringe together.
We did. When I did the Big Value Showcase, I did it with a 17-year-old Elliot Steele.
Oh, you were so young when you were first gigging.
I was such a cunt when I was that age as well, man.
I don't remember you being a cunt. I just remember someone being like, "Oh, Elliot Steele's on," and being like, "I think I might have worked with you when you were 18 for the first time."
I think so, yeah.
And being like, "Oh, it's just annoying." Like, even though you were good and you were sound and you were absolutely worth it, but it makes you annoyed at yourself for being like, why wasn't I doing paid work at 18? Like, it's very young.
It's very young, but it doesn't. So I think that's like the uni years of my life, and I treated those years in comedy like the uni years of my life. So that set me back. I think it actually set me back. If I'd come into comedy at like 25 and been like, you got to turn up and do the work and do all of this stuff. But instead, I was like 18. The second day I met Adam, he told me a story where he'd shat in a bush on the night home. So this is the people I was hanging out with at age 17.
That was the first.
At least it wasn't on a dance floor, thank fuck.
Have you shit on the dance floor?
No.
Oh, no.
No, I haven't.
No.
No.
What would it take?
And you better not kill the mood.
What would it take for you to shit on a dance floor?
Yeah, you
Two more drinks than I had in Brighton, probably.
Some spiced meat.
Do you remember the when we were in?
God just gave me a real like.
Do you remember the I've made a terrible mistake thing in Ed's flat?
Oh fuck yeah! We sprayed just yeah.
So I was very, very hungover. Obviously, like, so that was 2014. So I'm 22, and I was deemed the senior of that.
You were the mature one.
Because I had an 18-year-old Ed and a 17-year-old Elliot who were doing the sum total of 11 minutes each. And we tight 20, tight as fuck, mate. And I had to make up the extra time. Donald pulled me to one side at one point and he was like, you need to be doing bits as well.
You've never seen someone stretch out how funny being 17 is. And then I couldn't get drinks. Here is the punchline to this other joke.
Isn't your first few like Edinburghs are brutal when you're like, oh, this is harder. This feels like there's more people watching. When you're at clubs and you're like, yeah, I'm a young comic, I can put this together. There's only 3 other comics on. These crowds seem quite happy. And then you get to Edinburgh when you're young and everyone's like, go on then. You're like, oh, I don't feel like I've done all my homework.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, that first few.
We went back to Ed Hedges' flat after one of the shows one day to get a bit of lunch and then just sit around talking shit for a bit. And we're all very, very hungover because we'd gone out and got hammered the night before. And they're in the living room and I went for one of my famous poos. You know what I mean? And you've smelt them. And, you know, I'd only known these guys like...
Infamous.
Yeah. I'd only known these guys a few days, maybe a week or 10 days or something. So I didn't really want to leave them with a stank. So I'm sat on the toilet and I can smell it. And then I was like, they can't walk into this. So I'm just going to grab that deodorant and spray it everywhere. And that should hopefully cover it. And then what they heard from the living room was, boys, I've made a terrible mistake. And I'd grabbed shaving foam. So they walked into a shit-smelling room covered in with me, shaving foam, because I'd just grabbed it and gone.
Our first response was...
So I'm just stood there, stinking of shit.
As it slowly expands.
We thought he shat foam. We were all just there, like, Adam, you're not well. But that show, because we were on at, what, 12:30 every day. Like, was the start time of that. And
so dangerous.
But it was amazing at how unprofessional it, because we started realising nobody gave a fuck.
No one was watching.
Daryl's not there.
Daryl couldn't give a shit. Well, he probably could, but he's you know, someone's ripped him off for £5 somewhere, so he's in an argument about that. Like,
we are really saying hello to a few people on this one, aren't we? Saying hi to a couple of old friends.
I've noticed ever since I got it, there's like been a nervy energy from Dan. It's just sat there.
I love it, but I know that I'm going to be answering the emails. Oh, hi, Kate.
I'm really acting like the pandemic's going to go on forever and work is never coming back. I'm acting like, you know, when you see an old school teacher and you're like, I always thought you were a cunt, but then I remember, I'm still in year 5. I've got to go in.
Daryl watched one of the shows about 5 or 6 days in, and he pulled me to a side because you and Ed were young and they'd been given the spot to just have the spot. But Ed had just won So You Think You're Funny. He's like the new up and coming. Elliot's like comedy prodigy, just signed with a big agent, and they'd been given this because like they're the future of comedy. They get the thing, but they didn't have the full 20 that they needed.
Didn't have a 20.
So Daryl turned up one day and he put us outside and he went, "Are they doing like 11 minutes every day?" And I went, "Yeah." He went, "No wonder it's finishing short." He went, "You need to be doing like 15 to 20 on top of your comparing." So I started comparing, and then in between everyone doing a 10-minute set.
You started doing Adam Rowe and Friends at your first.
yeah. Turned big value into rowie bags and mates.
But we would all do it was great fun. Like, even though the month, like the first, I don't know how you guys found your first Edinburgh, but it was hell. Like,
Yeah.
I look back and I go, I wasn't happy during that, but I look back and go, oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was, nobody gave a fuck. It was
Yeah.
it was the greatest time ever. And we would start trying to get
So
things. I
up
know
and
I've talked
down.
about this before, trying to get things into our sets.
Yeah.
And what we gave each other like funny things, but then we'd give Ed like something like really serious. Like, it would be
Oh,
like,
so you challenged each other before the show to be like, make sure you say this.
Oh yeah,
as part of-
it would be like, Adam's would be like deep throat bonanza, and then my one would be like banana cream pie, and then Ed's would be like correctional rape.
And I'd be on stage like,
Good luck, Ed.
Ed's on stage shitting himself like, what if Just for Laughs are in?
and he's young enough to think, but I've got to say it. I've definitely got to
Can't
say it.
lose face.
Oh my God. I mean, I can fuck up my career, but I'm going to lose a bet.
But that's the thing when you're young and coy, like, and
Your first Edinburghs are a roller coaster. When you're excited, you're so excited. It's almost like your first relationship, isn't it? It's all like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And then the nights out are the most fun thing ever. The hangovers are hell. When you're down, you're down. At like 4 or 5 Edinburghs in, you're like, yeah, it's fine. It's all right. It's good. Doing decent shows. It just levels out. It gets easier to just cap the
I don't think I'm ever going back for the full run. I said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it so that I bring it to reality. I'm not going back for the full run because I don't want to. I don't like it, and I don't want to. So I'm not doing it.
It'd be nice to go up if we could find a venue for a week to do a little run of Have a Word Lives.
Yeah.
I'll
just do one big show,
I'll do 2 or 3 shows.
I'd love to just not advertise it to our fans, right, and do what we do to your typical Pleasance audience. Fly on Pleasance courtyard.
Can I just... We're not doing what I just said at the Pleasance.
No, but that's built for you guys.
This wasn't in The Guardian. Oh my God.
It's built for this. The Pleasance. This kind of podcast was just perfect. You should do it in the courtyard unannounced. I'd love it. Go great. You should set up a stall next to the guy who sells halloumi wraps or whatever the fuck they're doing up there.
I want to be in the same venue that you watched Armageddon. I want to be in that sort of like...
Bad news. Now that I've been on here, you're not getting that venue.
That show nearly got cancelled after that night. Like, they pulled Rich to a side and was like, that was too far. If that ever happens again, we will cancel.
I do owe him a massive apology.
I don't know. That's part of the...
Well, this is now an apology podcast. So.
Oh, hang on. Go for it.
That's what we do on here now.
An apology. We're ready.
To Rich Masala and the people of the Banshee Labyrinth, including the bouncer, I just want to let you know that I let myself down. I let my family down.
You've done this before.
But
He's been speaking to the same lawyers we had on the phone last week.
Now do Daryl.
So Daryl Martin.
No, don't.
I want to let you know that I couldn't give a fuck. No, but I've had to do. I had to do it when I went to Sarah Pascoe at some point, but. I don't know if you guys want to touch on all of this
we
stuff.
We can touch on that, yeah. You sort of briefly mentioned it before we started recording. So
this is making me sweat at the ass.
I love it. This is my thing. I don't want to drag you guys into it if you're...
we're in.
You've got a story to tell.
If you're in it, do you know? No, because I don't want to come in here and then like I just like have a good time and leave, and then like next I go, oh, we're gonna do that again at some point. And you're like, oh, we lost everything.
No, look, what we'll do is we'll let Elliot tell his story. We'll give him our platform to do so. We don't need to add anything to it. You don't need to say anything bad about anyone. And we'll just,
I think it's exactly what people that watch this podcast want and enjoy. Mm-hmm. Think it's kind of, they want the honesty, they like it. It's a fucking comedy podcast.
It's Opie and Anthony level, like it's that sort of thing. But
I have just on that, not looking forward to gigging in London next time when I'm like, hello, people that never come to Runcorn. Shit.
I was on another comedy podcast. Main word there, comedy.
Yeah.
And I did like a story, like it was interjected by Jamali and Kai, and they were just sort of doing things. And Sarah Pascoe took what I said and what we all said out of context and put it in her book about sex work. Why she's writing a book on sex work, I don't know. She's never done sex work. She's never got a sex worker. So it's kind of like someone going, I'm going to write a book about being a cab driver. I'm never going to get in a cab. I'm never going to become one. But here's my opinion on all of this. And it's a good book. And, I was listening to it, I was enjoying it. And then I was listening to it on audio. And then my name pops up and she starts dragging us into it. Now, out of context, what we said looked really bad.
Yeah.
But that's why it was funny.
Though,
no, I don't know. Dan, it's not a funny matter because I don't know. I don't think you've ever been through this. I don't appreciate you laughing at my woe.
I was just thinking, if you transcribed the script of Have a Word, the podcast, oh my God, that would make for some.
If you write it down with
the whole thing,
without tone.
Dude, imagine
what
you're
about the first half of today? What if the Queen was bummed to death? Said Adam.
Said Adam.
Does she take it in the arse? He speculated.
Playfully.
This is a question I asked my dad the other day. I went, do you reckon the Queen's ever earnestly been called a cunt by someone she knows? Do you reckon anyone's ever gone to her like, look, you're just being a cunt here. Like, but about something in the house, she's like going, well, you're sat on the remote. And I go, I'm not sat on the remote. Are you? And then someone goes, look, you're being a cunt about this. Like, genuinely said it.
Do you reckon Charles has got that in him?
I don't think Charles, but I reckon Philip, because but that's an interesting thing. Someone in this world has never earnestly been called a cunt. I must fuck with you a little bit.
I think it could be her.
I reckon Charles might have done it behind her back rather than to her face. Like, I want to be the king. When's this cunt going to die?
It's not the same. It's like the same as if a line of people are there to meet you. I'm sure someone in line is shouted out, you're a cunt, you're majesty, something like. But someone like if I was doing something like on that night and you came to me and went, Elliot, mate, you're being a cunt right now.
Yeah.
I'd go, oh, fucking hell, I'm being a cunt. But she's probably never had that said to her.
It shows.
And it shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Sarah Pascoe, she was being a cunt by putting me.
So what did you say? Look how nervous he is.
I'll have to wash his seat down later.
I feel really bad.
I'm more scared of Sarah Pascoe than the Queen. Not even fucking about.
I like Sarah. Like, I do. It's just, you wrote shit about me.
What did you say? We need to know what you said. It needs to be contextualized.
Well, does it? Yeah,
of course it does.
Look, it's like, this is the thing, like with things like this. We're fucking about. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's funny to sit there with mates and fuck about and say the wrong thing because that's funny. And in the context of a podcast where you've built a relationship with people, that's a funny thing to do. And when people...
You've just written the blurb for our working life, basically. That's exactly what we do.
We're dicking about. There's a relationship, like, I'll listen to this, right? There's things where we will laugh at, like, there'll be a joke made about your mum, or we could do a joke about it. Like, it's done because there's a relationship there. And that's fine, and the people in the relationship can watch it. People outside of it, if they just see a snippet of that and go, that's the problem with society. It's like, no, you fucking idiots. We aren't saying that this is we should all behave like this. It's like funny to think if we did think like that.
Yeah.
There are people out there who think like that, and we're satirizing it.
We spoke about this in the first half. You're trying to make comedians laugh. And comedy comes from surprise, and it's very hard to surprise a comedian without going too far. So you have to go too far to make a comic laugh a lot of the time.
And you're trusting that the people that are watching sort of get it. It's not like being at a comedy club on a Saturday night where people have just turned up and it's a party atmosphere, don't know you. We basically assume that we all know each other. You're our mate. You know our sense of humour. Everyone watching knows. And then all of a sudden, out of context, clipped out in front of the wrong person, sounds awful.
Yeah, but it's also that thing you're saying about a comedy club. In a comedy, you still have like 10 minutes in the first part of your set where you can build a relationship with the audience. So like I sometimes do more risque jokes, but I make sure maybe that's 5 minutes in, or I put one in early just to let you know what the fuck I'm about, rather than fair play to anyone if they just walk on and do their opening gambit and it's dark. It's class.
Yeah. If you walk on, you'd be like, thanks very much. The thing about pedos is like, you're like, whoa.
It's interesting, and I like that kind of comedy, but I can understand when he's
I've
not
started doing that though.
Yeah,
especially
there's not loads of you though, is there?
No, but like I find it quite fun to just set me stall out at a comedy club. Like, and I don't know whether I'm allowed to say this, but I'll just say it anyway, because why not? Why not just completely drive everything into the ground? I got in trouble last year. I won't name the brand, but I was linked with a brand, right? And I put a joke out at the start of the pandemic, which was essentially, it's only going to kill old people, and do we really need as many as we've got anyway? Let them all die. And that was my opening joke for ages. I was just walking on stage, and I twisted it when we come back from lockdown. I was like, you know, all your nans are dead, and I'm not arsed. And to be abrasive at the start, I found funny. But then the brand I was linked with tried to get that joke taken off the internet, and I was like, I'm not doing it.
Here's why I think like brands and left can go fuck themselves. Yeah, and I say this as someone raised in like the back of SWP meetings and all of this stuff. Like I was raised, fucking idiots think brands are their friends. Yeah, and they are morons. HSBC sponsors gay pride in London. HSBC takes money off Hezbollah, who throw gay people off of roofs. And people go, oh, thank God. They might as well have a meeting. I bet there was some corporate psychopath in that meeting going, look, we've been caught doing this. Buy a rainbow flag and make those, you know, flat puffs happen.
Sorry, just 1 second. Allegedly.
I'm not ashamed of myself. It's fascinating. It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm just trying to talk less than you two.
But this is the thing. Look what it's done to Dan.
If that chair had wheels on, he'd be over there now. He's like, I'm off ski.
So would you rather have flippers or...
But that like clientele and way of thinking is now affecting comedy, where it is just like, no, we're fucking about, we're saying something funny and we're recording it, we're putting it out there, and this is a new thing, and you guys are at the front of that in the UK, so you're getting this brunt of it that I don't think people have had in the UK yet. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not, so when people go, does cancel culture exist? Yeah, it's not always going to lead to a cancelling, but I've been in writer's room where you go, let's put this funny joke in, and people go, oh, there's a hypothetical woke person who might start a Twitter storm, and that's going to stop this.
We just talked about it before, yeah.
Oh, sorry that I'm going over.
No, it's in writing rooms, people go, no, can't do.
And then you go, that's funny. That's funny in the context of this. This is funny, and people go, I don't know, and I get it. I don't blame these people, but then when you've got people who are comedy producers and promoters and fucking comedians, if you're a comedian and you throw other comedians under the bus, go fuck yourself. Get back to your drama degree. You're not involved in this.
Like, getting a round of applause for that, baby. I hate that.
That was the most lackluster round of applause.
No, it was on the... He's got an applause on the soundboard.
I thought we'd all be able to hear it.
You've just got no headphones on. Andrew Schultz quoted from the Planet of the Apes that ape don't kill ape. Do you know what I mean? And comics shouldn't throw another comic under the bus. Every comic should be like, he was trying to be funny. It's that Patrice O'Neill interview where he's up against the woman.
Have the right.
Yeah, you've got the right to attempt to be funny. And if you don't if it doesn't work, then you made a mistake and you move on. But the attempt is what he was trying to fight for. And that's what every comic, in my opinion, should be standing for.
The hypocrisy of a comedian then going, awful joke, terrible. You're like... You cannot be a proper comedian and then be so hypocritical and so short-sighted to go, well, that's awful. You're like, God almighty. Who are you pandering to? Who are you trying to make your crowd?
They're pandering to a lot of the producers. This is a big problem in UK comedy, is the people who produce comedy on UK TV. Certainly the newer shows. And obviously there's exceptions to this, and there's a lot of producers I really like and I really like working with. But there's a lot of people who are just... You know, they've just come out of Oxbridge and they're just like, well, for the last 4 years, me and all of my friends have thought this, so I'm just going to keep that as my personality forever now. And anyone who doesn't like it, and anyone who goes even 1% against what I think, even if the other 99% is exactly aligned, then I would never work with them and they're blacklisted from all my shows. That's why it works, and that's why I don't really give a shit about telly anymore.
But also, that talking about brands, the reason those writing rooms have those, like, hypothetical woke people is because they represent a complaint that hasn't happened yet that will go to the producers and then end up on the laps of the sponsors who pay for the show. So this is the major problem with having brands who have to be sanitized because they're trying to sell to everyone. They've got shareholders. Everyone is answerable to the bottom line, which is the money. This is why art and comedy and pushing the boundaries of what is funny and what is acceptable and satire cannot be linked to Johnson and Johnson and fucking.
Well,
like,
hold on. I've got to leave them out of this because I've got a thing going on with them at the moment. If there's one thing I don't want to step on today. Their vaccine is the best one, 30% effective, so I could have made a better one in my bar.
Sponsors and brands and the comedy creative process is such a dangerous marriage, isn't it?
We've spoken about this over the past day. I don't mind saying, like, this podcast is starting to do quite well, and we've got a lot of listeners and a lot of, whatever. And we had someone basically come to us and go, we could get you linked with a big podcast network. Let's say I won't name them. And he was like, do you want to start that conversation? And we went, no.
Yeah, good on you,
because
man.
then it's not because we don't want to take money from the man. If we got enough money, you better believe we'll fucking sell out. Do you know what I mean?
For sale. Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. But we're not.
What's your price? What is the tap on the shoulder? Like, all right, boys, we're gonna say.
I'd want to take $1 million, so we'd need 5 or 3.
I just need drainage in my garden. I've got really bad.
That is what you'd sell out for.
$1 million. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be able to say I'm a millionaire and open my bank account and prove it. I'm going to put £1 million in my current account.
At what point,
that's what I want to do.
What point of that $1 million are you like doing this podcast and you're sat there and just before you go on, someone goes, "Hey, Dan, Adam, guys, I see what you want to talk about today, and you've got this email. We were just wondering, actually, if you could talk about. There's a great story about cats doing a fancy dress party, and that's more light-hearted and shows the world
would
more.
be given the £1 million back within 3 episodes.
Fuck those cats! I fucking want to see them all get AIDS, lad.
But what we really don't want, more than someone coming in and going, we've got topic suggestions, which would be annoying as fuck.
I thought you were about to point at me and just go bringing up all this shit.
We don't want a boss that people can go to and go, they said this, tell them off. Because, like, when we got that controversy last week, they had my agent to go to and go, blah, 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 blah. We don't like that we don't want someone who can go, this is a problem for us, so you need to change it. It's our thing. Yeah. We're not trying to upset people, but it's our thing, and we are going to fuck about and say some stupid shit.
Someone went to my dad once on Twitter.
That is so fucking weak.
It is, but it was.
Oh, by the way, if you don't know Elliot, his dad's not like a civil engineer.
Yeah, my dad's not Terry from The Butcher.
Oh my God. I'm going to go to this.
my dad's like...
Knocking on, excuse me, sir. Do you know your son?
So I love how your brain worked there, by the way. You had the name Terry and you couldn't get Terry Butcher out your head. Terry, but he's a butcher.
Come on, Elliot, you got the name. Think of a job. But yeah, I don't know, someone tweeted something like, if you're given unlimited funds and can make a theme park of anything, what would it be? And I thought it'd be funny to tweet Schindler's List, right? But then I deleted
Schindler's List theme park.
Schindler's List theme park. Right? I then deleted it because I thought it was hack. I was like, I thought, that's the go-to Holocaust film. Should have been Boy in Striped Pajamas. Do you know? Just as a joke, Smith.
Yeah, that was the problem.
That was
low hanging fruit.
Is that why they were ringing your dad? Hey,
this is
not original.
Schindler's List is the go-to hack of the Holocaust. Do you know what I mean?
Should have gone pianist.
I never. Every time Schindler's List is brought up, I always just remember that there's a lift company called Schindler's.
Yeah,
Schindler's Lift. Yeah. I just can't. That'll never not be incredible to me. Schindler's Lift.
If you are the kind of person who gets in a Schindler's Lift and doesn't go, something's wrong with you.
I was going to get them to do the pull cart things on the things as well because they're good at the elevation and stuff. So it was the theme park was going to work out. I had this planned out. It was all there.
One ride.
You do not want a photo. You do not want a photo. Loads of shoes for sale though.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be here till about fucking 12:30 here.
I'm going to ring my agent myself and let him know about this one.
Sorry, shall I start? This isn't...
No, we're just fucking around.
All right, thank you.
So what did you say?
I mean, I've got an idea.
This is why, when you lot said, thanks for defending me, I was like, you really don't want me on a side. It's proof you've done something wrong. But yeah, so I deleted it because I was a bit hacked. The guy, I then just tweeted, I deleted that because it was hack. And this guy was like, well, with your Jewish heritage and your dad being Mark Still and like coming from like part Jewish family, do you really think this is the thing to tweet? When I tweeted it was hack, he was then like, if your account was hacked, did you get it back so quickly?
Oh God.
So I was just like, this is the best thing. And I was like, what does he think my dad's going to do? Take my PlayStation away from me for doing a Holocaust joke on Twitter? Like, grounds me like, son, what have I told you? Not to do Holocaust jokes on the internet.
And certainly not hack ones. I did not raise a plagiarist, all right?
Your dad's way more likely to bollock you for taking the easy route with the punchline. Oh, my God. Also, if you're from Jewish heritage, does that give you the right to make the jokes more than the other way around? He's basically going, well, you're Jewish, so you definitely shouldn't make those jokes. Wouldn't that be the same barb that they use?
Anyone should make the fucking... It's funny pretend that you're going to do a Schindler's... Like when everyone's like, I want an Iron Man theme park. And then someone goes, I want Schindler's List theme park.
Yeah.
But that's just a funny, ridiculous thing to say. Could you imagine me going to investors? Guys, seriously, just trust me. Schindler's List is going to make a massive comeback in the form of a theme park. It's going to be like Disney World.
I don't think that's an episode of Dragon's Den.
I think there might be a hypothetical woke person that maybe shuts that down. And for that reason, I'm out.
Right, what did you say on the podcast?
Yeah, Sarah
It needs to be contextualised for it to stay in the
I
episode.
was telling a story about a time that I aggressively got approached. I don't know if have you guys been to Ibiza before?
No, I'm going in August though.
You're going in August. Oh, class. So you'll see this. Like, if you walk down part of the strip in Ibiza, you are grabbed by street walking sex workers. Okay,
Right.
like sex workers, they will, and it is aggressive.
Yeah.
And so I had this fit. Like, there was one who was like to me, like, "Do you want to come and get in this limo with me and this woman?" And I was like, "Absolutely not, because you're going to rob me." It's just that's what's going to happen. That limo's going to drive off.
I feel like right now that you're trying to explain what you did to me, your girlfriend. No, she was aggressive, love. Listen, no, I was walking down the strip and she said, get in the limo. And I was like, all right, all right.
Long story short, I ended up getting a hooker, or sex worker, sorry. I ended up getting a sex worker, right? That's the story. And
Not in a limo.
Not in a limo. And it was one of the most depressing experiences. But what was funny about it was like when she was trying to take me down this bit to rob me, I was like, I'm not going to go down there because I'm going to get robbed. We just kind of like just both stood there, and then that was that. She gave me like, went to touch my dick. It was like, no, this isn't going to happen, is it? Because you're here to rob me. That's the story. And then afterwards, I gave her the money and she went, oh, could I have another €5 to go and get pizza? And I went, you've done this date the wrong way round. That's the story, right?
That's a joke. That's a joke. That's the joke.
Punchline, right?
It's a punchline.
There we go.
It's like when a
You
smackhead in
didn't
Liverpool asks you for
deliver it.
20p for the bus, and then he sees how much change you've got and he goes, can I have the quid as well?
Never get all the change out.
That happens a lot though, doesn't it? You're like,
Yeah.
can I have 20p? You're like, of course you can have 20p, lad. And he's like, oh, that's a £2 there, I'll have that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, do you know what? It was exactly the same as that. This woman that I solicited for sex. yeah, totally the same thing. I told that story. So I end up in Sarah Pascoe's book where she's using this as an example of men's attitudes towards sex workers. But I was on with Jamali and Kai made a joke. Well, I like sort of go, oh, then it turned out she was a sex worker. And Kai went, what gave that away when she went sucky $5? That's what he said. Like, it couldn't have been more clear. It was and she then went, Kai's racist joke. And I was just like reading this, like, but Kai isn't racist. Don't frame him as a racist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what's fucked up about this stuff. You could get it and go, oh, that was a racist joke. Or was it a joke playing on the stereotype that is given to certain sex workers because when they are streetwalkers approaching
If anything,
people.
it was hack more than anything.
It should have been, it was the Schindler's List of sex workers.
Sucky.
I wondered where you were going with that little side note before. Full fucking circle.
Yeah, I wish I hadn't brought it up now because I know that on Twitter, this guy's going to go, why'd you bring me back into this?
Oh, Jesus.
But that's that thing. When I watched what happened to you guys, it was that similar thing where anyone I speak to as a comic going, oh, what they're going through is horseshit, but I'm not going to say anything because then it will be me who gets thrown under the bus.
We had messages from comics going, like, I thought what you did was funny. I understand why people didn't. The witch hunt's bollocks, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get crucified. But and we had comics get in touch and go, who did publicly say something and said, I'm in a WhatsApp group with 12 other comics, everyone's on your side. but they're not going to say anything because they don't want to get crucified with you.
It's a tricky one because I don't think you can just go to people like, you have to come out and put your career on a, because you know what it's like.
We absolutely didn't expect that at all. And we said this on Patreon. We really don't want to upset people. We dance on the line with this. When someone gets upset by something we've said, we're not happy about that, and we don't want to do that. It's never our intention to do that. We're just,
and people have a right to be annoyed and upset.
Of course,
but you know, like they have that right. But it's the way they then try and shut the whole thing down and stop you ever doing what you do. Like, it's an overreaction. But I think
someone
the layer that we've
to
not
Ofcom.
Yeah,
they do realise you're not part of
the BBC.
But the other layer is comedians being part of that lynch mob is a special type of like, do you know, like it's.
It's fucking horrible, man, because like we're all in this thing, like what we all go through in Edinburgh and stuff, and there's like a version where you're gonna have a shit like the older comics who took me under their wing and bullied me mercilessly from when I was 16 I started, bullied me mercilessly, give me shit all the time. It was always done as a way of, hey, what we're doing here means any crowd you meet who do this to you, they're not going to do it half as good as we've done it to you. You're bulletproof now. You go on and someone in the show starts screaming at you or tell you, fuck off and fuck you and fuck this. It just can become, you can deal with it. It's funny because you now are sat here insecure about things you didn't know you needed to be insecure about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's also other things that, like, if you're a comedian, it's without ever having like a ring or official certification. You're part of like a comedians Masons group. You're part of a clique of, it's a small group of men and women that can make a living doing comedy in virtually any country. But in this country, I'd hazard a guess at 600, 700, 800 people max could be properly call themselves stand-ups. You're meant to be like, there's a bit of camaraderie. Okay, you can criticize each other. You can say when each other's doing wrong, but just feels...
Public hanging's a bit much, innit?
Feels like it's just, I don't know what... It's almost going against the code of like, are you happy to throw another comic under the bus? Do you think you're gaining something, or are you more activist than you are comedian?
That's a good point. Cause
that's exactly what it is.
But the thing I don't get with these people is like, the place I think you always start a stand up, or like I like to, is like, I'm a fucking idiot who doesn't know anything. Like what you lot was saying on the podcast was funny, but it was Dan and it wasn't fucking Mensa at the UN like giving their like speech about it. Was two guys fucking
want to be
about.
right. They want to be funny.
Just wanted to be funny, and these people are coming at it from a. I think it's a place where they haven't worked on themselves as people. And I think like comedy is almost good in therapy in a way when you get good at it, because you start going like, here's my issues that I'm going to go tell to a room of strangers. I'm kind of fucked up. So let's not take everything I say as golden.
I'm not perfect.
I'm not perfect. Here's a story about, I've just told a story about me getting a sex worker in IB for like, what the fuck went wrong in my childhood that led to that moment? Do you know what I mean? But that's
it's not an attack on sex workers.
It's not an attack on sex workers.
It's layered. It's like,
it's a sad story about you, really, isn't it?
It's incredibly tragic. Yeah. Like, but it's funny. It's funny.
But I paid a woman to touch your dick and then didn't let her.
All right, and then I used to buy a pizza.
I know what you're trying to say. Kai's racist.
Yeah.
All right, so let's have a break.
But that group of lads that you're really good mates with, and you know, me and Dan are both friends with from a bit more of a distance. Kai, Sloss, Milo McKay, Brian Cullen, like that group of lads that. They are going to take the piss. I've had such good nights with them both in Edinburgh. There was that night in London, which was
chicken wings.
Did I tell that story on this? Have I told it on the Sloss one?
Yeah.
Did I?
With the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told it.
Did I tell it? Yeah.
Shove your chicken wings up your arse.
Shove your chicken wings up your arse, and they chased us with Elliot's bag. You forgot your bag, Mr. Chicken Wing Man.
You get for Sarah. That was accurate. That wasn't a racist impression. That was accurate.
That's exactly what one guy. That's what one guy sounds like.
Try and write that accent in a book.
Challenge accepted. I reckon I can do that. Try and And also,
everyone reading it on the bus will go over it again, say it out loud, and people are just going to look at him going, fucking all right, mate.
I didn't say where that man was meant to be from. He was a Cockney. Born, raised, 8th generation Cockney. That's just how he spoke.
Oh, God.
Let's have a break.
Who's the sponsor with sliding in here?
I don't know.
I think this might be a merch one.
Hey, listen to this. This podcast, Have a Word, yeah, is sponsored by beer52.com, and we have been for about a year now. They are our OG sponsor, and I've got to tell you about them. If you don't know who they are the number one craft beer discovery club in the UK. What's a craft beer discovery club, Adam? Well, I'll fucking tell you, mate, okay? What they do is they help you discover craft beer. They send you different craft beers every month from all over the world, different themes every month as well. You might get a month worth of South African beers. You might get some from Argentina the next month. You might get some from South Korea or something. All over the world, they'll help you discover the best craft beers that you've never heard of. And here's the best thing. Because you're a listener to this podcast, not only do you get a free case of 8 beers and an award-winning beer magazine, for free, just by going to beer52.com/word. All you do, pay the postage and packaging, 8 free beers, free beer magazine, and a little tasty snack as well. And also, it helps us out. You support our sponsors, they support us. This thing can keep going. We can keep the Have a Word gravy train on the fucking track. So go to beer52.com/word right now and get yourself some bevies for nothing.
We've had some emails. I'm going to be doing the prep today. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Cool. We've had
The viewers want to see this. It got tense.
no, it genuinely did it.
Dan's having another period. Apparently, I'm not doing the dishes enough.
Someone said that the other day, in a comment, to see that?
What?
Does Dan really hate
No, I saw
Adam?
that, but someone said what happened before this record because it seemed really tense at the start.
Was that Patreon? I thought you were being a bit of a moody bitch today.
Oh no, it wasn't that.
So is everything all right at home, man? What's going on?
Everything's really good at home. It's because he started going fishing a lot. He's like, yeah. That genuinely, before we started recording, I wasn't eggy in any way, but it realistically, it's me doing the prep. Yeah. This is from The Goat. Sapnin, Adriano, Danilo, Sensei, Cafu, and Fred, and guest on the couch. I have a debate that has divided my uni house and I need urgent answers to have a word with one side or the other. It came to light that one of the lad's birds makes him dab his cock after having a piss for good hygiene. I thought this was fucking mental, but all the girls, including my other half, agree and think it's disgusting if a lad doesn't dab his surprised Caucasian eye after having a piss. Am I? Mate, that is why he's the goat.
Wonderful.
That's why he's the goat. It's why he's the goat. He's doing one of the...
Is this Harry?
Yeah, of course. There's no other goat, is there? Am I living in a fucking simulation, or does everyone actually wipe the end of their dick with toilet paper after having a piss? And am I the disgusting one with a pissy roo hole, to quote Alfie Brown? Please settle this debate as it's driving the house insane. The girls think this is equivalent to having a piss kink if you're not happy to wipe your dick hole. All the best, Harry Robbo.
I'll take this on, just initially, if that's okay, Elliot. My ex-girlfriend forced me to do this. Right? She was like, you wipe your dick, because that dick comes near me. And I don't want 8-hour-old piss in my fucking vagina hole, or my bumhole, or my mouth, or my ears. So, wipe your willy, right? And then...
Paraphrasing or...
She did not say most of that. I met that woman, and that was not verbatim.
So...
She was always walking around going, I tell you what, he's got to clean that before he sticks it in my ear. That's me. And honestly, that might be...
I don't ask for much.
This will be the end of us.
Then we broke up, and genuinely, like, that was one of the positives. I was like, I don't have to wipe my dick anymore. Like, this
How
is
did she
genuinely-
know?
What?
How did she know that you didn't?
Women know everything, Carl, and they always find out. And plus, sometimes it dribbles in me undies, and she'd be like, "You haven't wiped your willy."
Didn't you shake?
Women know everything, and they have a sense of smell.
Yeah, I do shake, but sometimes you shake it for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You come, and then you put it in your pants, and it still dribbles out a bit.
Can I say I'm with Adam on this one?
Would you dribble?
I swear to God, you
Very,
think you've done
very
the
rarely.
job. You think you've done the job, and then all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah. So,
It's Trixie.
like, for months, I've been like, "Oh, what? How liberating is this? I'm saving so much money on toilet paper."
That's how big your dick is. How many fucking hell, lad? These dabs take forever.
I don't have to go to Costco to get my dick wipes anymore. Fucking always buying
Using a beach towel.
Getting a new one.
Fucking hell.
as a his and hers genital wipe time.
And then last week,
Uh-oh.
my girlfriend was in the bathroom with me while I was pissing, And she was like, I think it's disgusting that men don't dab their willy. So I got it and I was like, this again.
Streets back. All right.
So now I'm back dabbing me dick.
Elliot, where are you at?
I think to read between the lines in the story, it begins with they say they're at uni, and those are some women who still have high expectations of men.
Oh,
Do
really?
you know what I mean? They're still like, I want a guy to have good hygiene. I want a guy to have this. My girl, she's 3 years older than me. My girlfriend's 28, and she's like,
she knows. She's
you're
a vet.
yeah, you're alive. Well done. Like that's the stat. Do you know what I mean? Well done. She's dealing with someone who got a sex worker in Ibiza. Like, genital hygiene isn't my girlfriend's main starting point.
Yeah.
They have a lot to go through with that. So I think that's like that. 18 years old, you know, like if you're like the equivalent of if you're a guy, you're like, I want a girl who's going to be like, she's got to be able to do this, do that in the bedroom. And then it's just like, nah, that's,
it's the same with like political ideology, isn't it? When you're 17, 18, 19, you're like, everyone can have £1 million each.
We are the world.
Everyone should have a free Rolls Royce the second they turn 16. And everything can be fine. And then just as people get older, they gradually and go, well, you know, nurses should get paid a bit more. But that's it.
They can solve all of their problems in a nightclub smoking area on ecstasy and think it's still a good idea. It'd just be like, what if we just love each other more? And that's just the answer. And that's what you do when you're that age. And then like I'm still 24, so I've still got a bit of hope, but it's fleeting.
Yeah.
It goes with each passing birthday. It just suddenly it's gone from I want to drive a Lamborghini to I'll take a Fiat to now, if I can pass my test. Do you know what I mean? That is just so what's to happen.
Next year it's going to be, as long as I get the bus seat with the most legs.
I would hate to have a sit down with the 21-year-old me, because I thought I was going to do some bits. And I'd be literally like, he'd be like, so Dan, where are we? Just turned 4. He'd be like, listen, I'm just one bit of drainage away from a phenomenal lawn. And I know I would see genuine sadness in his young eyes.
See, I'd sit my 21-year-old down and be like, you were right, kid.
What would you tell him? What was 21-year-old hoping for?
Right.
It's exactly the same as you now. That's why.
Have you made no personal growth in any?
I don't see the point.
You've just started dabbing your cock. That's all you've done 8 years later. Just be like, watch out, lad. You're gonna have to fucking wash your cock.
It's just got better hair. 21-year-old, you would be like, lad, how'd you do that?
I probably weigh the same, but I carry it better.
We are the same. We're the same as we were as 18.
Yeah, we've spoken about this a couple of times since he's been back. Like, with this podcast and Carl coming on board, we've sort of found a way to never grow up, which has always been our goal since we became friends.
Yeah.
Is to just find a way to monetize being fucking morons.
Yeah.
And then this come along and just dream, believe, achieve.
Yeah.
We've thought it into
That was our school's motto as well.
Yeah.
Not
It really was.
What?
That was our school's motto, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Dream, believe, achieve.
No, it's very close.
Oh, it was dab your dick.
That's it, yeah. Dab your dick.
I think it's respect, believe, achieve.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So forget your dreams. Respect the teachers. Believe we're right. Achieve your GCSEs.
What motivational speaker was running this school?
They weren't. I always wanted a
At least
job.
it wasn't in Latin. It's so nonsense when they
I
were
always
in
wanted a job where I didn't want to wake up at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
That was as long as I had a job.
Zeligs.
If I was working in bars, when I worked in Japan, it didn't start till midday, and now we start whenever the fuck we want here. So,
Well, we've just quick look behind the curtain here. Today we all met at 11. We were like, bloody hell. These good, these early starts, aren't they? 11
a.m.
I nearly missed an 11 o'clock train because I was staying in bed. I'm such a lazy fuck.
Do you know
Some
what
of
I
our
would say about the old...
must fucking hate us, you know.
Oh, yeah, it's
when
bad
we're
chat.
we've all decided we're going to start getting up in the morning and working earlier from 11 a.m. onwards.
Tom Twistleton.
They're all finishing the shifts around
Tom
then.
Twistleton listens to the Patreon exclusive by 7:30 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, and then he does a little tweet going, "Oh, it was quality this week, lads." And you're like, "God Almighty, that's early."
yeah.
He works fucking hard. I think there's a lot to be said. I think a girl forcing you to dab your dick is a little bit over the line of all right, as if, because it's one of those ones, and I don't like this argument all the time, but if you pop your head around the toilet and went, "Love, have you dried your fanny?" I think it would
Weird,
be met
wouldn't
with
it?
a bit of displeasure. However, I don't think there's anything wrong if someone going, "You need to dab your dick." If you don't dab your dick, pre-sex, having a wash I don't think is the worst idea. You know, if that's an issue, like I could understand if I was a girl and I was about to bang a guy, I'd be like, right, I'm into it. This is what I'm into, but you need to wash all of that first properly in a shower, including your legs.
But you plan sex.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Sex is not meant to be planned in any way. It's meant to happen when you don't want to.
Do you want to backtrack on that, Carl? You're in the books.
Sex isn't meant to be planned.
Too consensual.
It's just they're into this like spontaneous, nice like flowers, and oh no!
The fact that you said anyway also implies it's also a surprise to the entire. What am I doing? Right? Oh fuck!
Two consensual
hold
people
up
shouldn't plan. Like, we'll have sex later, or let's have sex now.
No, but right. So
What are you talking about?
I'm not wrong.
It's
You're
really
not wrong,
weird that you
but-
bring this up.
If my missus, I just leaned in and started like putting them. Would she be like, "Oh my god, you've taken me"? She'd be like, "Whoa." There's like,
Oh, is that what middle
she
age
would
is?
Yes, mate.
See, so
Do you and Sarah could just grab each other and start
they
making
just go.
love?
They just go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed
You're
to
watching
do.
telly and you catch a side of a tit, and then you're like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
But what if it's a really good TV show?
Finn, do you feel comfortable sat there? You just sat there editing a podcast, you catch the side of a tit, and then you just bang Finn.
Listen, wait there. No, wait. Listen. So, I understand both sides here. I understand that as you get older, it's sort of like, are we bonking on Wednesday night? Yeah. Week's notice. Make sure you're clean. I get that.
It's an exaggeration, but you're not far off.
I get that, right? And it's so much better, the spontaneity thing, totally. I sort of found out something last week, though, because, like, me and my missus were going to bed, and, like, we both knew we were going to have sex when we got there. We hadn't gone, sex in 35 minutes? Get me ready?
T-minus.
We hadn't done that, but it was going to happen.
What
we
you put
knew.
on the telly, you know as well.
What?
I'm just looking for something to just put on, not
Yeah.
watch. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we know.
So we'd done that, but I had felt particularly moist that day. And not in a lady vagina moist way. I mean, like, sweaty. Do you know what I mean? Right?
John, man.
And then you told her, and she was like, fucking hell, dab everything.
No, so I went in the bathroom and I washed me dick and balls in the sink.
Did you use some Gillette? Just spray it with Gillette. Love, I've made a
I'm gonna have to
mistake.
shave it now. I used some Dove, right?
Soap or
No, the
Are you sponsored by fucking Dove?
I use some Dove.
so I doved me dick, right?
Aye.
And I just went for it. And then we got in bed, and then she smelt the Dove on me dick, and she was like, "Have you doved your dick?" And I said, "Yeah." I was like, "I did it because I felt particularly sweaty today." And she was like, "I wash my fanny all the time." And I was like, "What? Mad." That's the first time I've doved my dick. Unless I'm getting a shower. I don't normally go and do a full clean because I don't feel like I need it. And I also think sex is better when it's dirty and smelly and ugh.
No.
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 You know what I mean?
No, it's a bit.
No.
I get what
I
you're
don't think
saying.
a lot of women would agree with that.
Nah.
Like, oh yeah, I love it when the knob's absolutely on.
there's that like sex smell, and then there's that smell. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference between
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm into this, and just like, ugh.
Morning sex stinks, doesn't it?
I don't want it to be like covered in shit.
Don't kiss me. Don't.
I just want it to be a bit sweaty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be want to be clean at the start.
I like the human stank.
You get into the stink, you don't start stinky.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like smothering herself in feces.
Should we have sex tonight? No, you've got to go to the gym for 3 hours first.
Yeah. Could you do a tough mudder before?
I think there's probably a happy medium for me of like, I would love a bit more of that spontaneity. Be like, is this happening? But then a quick pit stop before, you know.
My biggest turn off is what's the opposite of spontaneity? Like planned.
Yeah.
Like
Arranged.
Organisation.
as soon as I get a whiff of it being, I'm like, nah.
But
I don't know why. It's weird. It's just something.
I just think brushing your teeth before a bonk. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but you should. If
No, you
get
shouldn't
in
have to. You shouldn't have to.
But does the spontaneity, because sometimes like what you were saying about watching a TV, have you had it where you're watching a really good TV show and you like you feel a hand go down and you're going like, oh no, but we're about to find out what Tony Soprano is going to do with Uncle Junior. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever had that thing? And then you don't want to go and kill the spontaneous moment and go just a second, like, but in your head you're like, we're going to miss something.
Pause.
Exactly.
Always pause.
I can't. This has been a problem in every relationship I've ever had. Okay, I can't do two things at once. I just can't. I'm doing one thing. I can't do the other thing. If I'm talking to you, I can't concentrate on the telly at the same time. Just can't happen. Right?
We know that.
What?
We both know
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Right? So if I'm watching something with my missus and she starts talking, I pause the program. Right? And I'll wait for it to finish. Like, you done? You
But
done?
it looks eggy.
Yeah, you done? right?
It's when you touch.
Right? But when that happens, right, I always want sex. Got a high sex drive. If someone wants to have sex with me, let's go. As long as you've got a vagina and, you know...
You're in a relationship.
You're relatively nearby. Let's fucking have it. You know what I mean?
This was my talk to myself on the streets of Ibiza. Exactly.
Right? So as they start doing that when we're into something good and we're watching it, right, I know that it would not be sexy to pause it. So I can't go, yeah, we can do this, but I'm just going to pause this. So I know to leave it. But it does sort of ruin the sexual intercourse for me because the entire time we're fucking, I'm sort of going, I'm going to have to rewind this in a minute.
Yeah, and then when you watch it back, you're like, I remember hearing this, and we were doing that.
Yeah. Because I'm so...
And I think that all the time. That's where we're up to.
I can't
remember hearing that.
concentrate on fucking you while Line of Duty's on in the background.
Yeah.
Guys,
You never done that? You heard something?
honestly, I don't care if it kills the mood dead in its tracks. That shit's getting paused. I wouldn't be. I'd be like, I'd be completely freak me out to sort of semi hear the story. I'm a pauser. I'm a pauser.
You've got to turn it off.
I will dove my dick. I will brush my teeth. I will lock the back door. I will put the recycling out, and then it's about to get thick.
You're a Renaissance man. You're an old-fashioned guy.
Yeah. I've had sex 3 times in the last 18 months.
And she's pregnant.
But you've caught up with so much Game of Thrones.
Fuck my life. It's my job, isn't it? So I'm just like crossing stuff out. Like,
Yeah.
that was fun,
See,
wasn't
it's not
it?
easy doing the prep, is it?
No, honestly, thanks for giving me the tutorial. Fucking lamp.
Lamp. Never
Hi,
called a lamp. I quite like that because that means tall. And I'm not.
hi, lads. Quick one. If you were stranded on a desert island with no food, which one of you is getting scran first, and what part of the body is getting eaten? So, if we all got, it's Finn, innit? Finn looks.
Elliot, what do you think?
Oh no, Elliot doesn't look tasty.
Who would I eat first?
Out of all of us 4.
I'll go with Carl. You know,
Oh, nice
being
one.
in Japan, it's got
Spicy.
Spicy. Like, I reckon,
Oh, it'd be like fusion.
Yeah,
like
it's-
Spain and Japan.
yeah, it would just be
like
a delicacy.
England,
Teriyaki
Spain,
chorizo.
Japanese fusion.
Yeah.
Fish
Okay.
and chips with chorizo and some Japanese
Sushi?
Nailed it.
raw fish
Yeah.
Oh,
and
nice.
chips
Oh,
with
Elliot.
chorizo. With some Japanese.
Couldn't think of any in Japanese, not one.
I'm not joking. He does not look tasty, does he? He looks like he's going to be like pulled pork or something that's not quite right.
Oh, well,
I
that
can't
one
decide.
you get from Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
I think
Finn looks delicious.
Finn looks like a
I
big
think
kebab.
if we were going
Hi,
to
mate.
be...
You all right?
We're talking about like... So what I want to say, if we were all joints of meat, what would we be? I think I'm like roast beef. I'm a roast beefy kind of man. Carl's a leg of lamb.
I'm a
which is-
T-bone.
It's good. No, you're a leg of lamb. Defo a leg of lamb.
I like lamb.
Finn.
Right, breathe in, because I know where this is going, and it's going to be
No, I think
negative.
Finn's lamb. He's Turkish, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
No, I think Finn is a sausage.
Well, explain your logic.
What kind?
He just looks sausagey. Do you know what I mean?
This is
Because he
logical.
looks sausage.
Because he looks sausagey.
It's not a compliment at all.
Explain your logic.
He looks sausagey.
Sausage.
Because he's, looks sausagey.
Fucking chipolata lad.
I think you look like chicken, but like
Chicken.
deep fried,
Greasy.
the offcuts of chicken.
Yeah, like a greasy, like one you get from a place in London at about 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Chicken
It's
chop.
a bit, chicken shop chicken. It's
Yeah.
It's in
You're
it.
not 100%, it's definitely chicken.
Nice though, innit?
Yeah.
We all like it.
And
you can't eat it too often. That's the
No.
look at this gun.
What do you think you are?
Fucking circling round.
I know what Dan is.
What do you think?
He's pork belly.
Pork belly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pork belly.
Lovely pork belly as well.
Is it?
Delicious.
Yeah.
Nice
You know
on
the
a
pork
grill.
belly?
Full of fat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tasty.
Pork belly's lovely.
No, I don't think pork belly. I
don't miss.
think
Go on. Donna.
Come on, bro.
egg.
The famous meat.
And you wonder why. and you wonder why I get annoyed with him. What meat has everyone? Your egg. hey, you're in a fucking mood today, aren't you, guys? Called you fucking egg when I called everyone else meat. Fucking. Are you on the line yet, Dan? You're fish, because I've got you on the fucking line, lad.
You're not fish. Finn, you're a bit fishy, actually. Cod.
Cod sausage.
Fish, leg of lamb.
Fish sausages.
Fried chicken.
Your roast beef. Fully British.
I love that you've just got to ordain yourself roast beef.
It's my game.
Oh, that's a fair point.
But
He's really pissed off.
you've got to kill someone, because he's not going to give himself up, is he? Like, beef's amazing, guys. You can eat me first. Like, it's first.
Save beef to last.
It's last in.
Lasts longer.
But podcast-wise, it's last in, first eaten, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Elliot.
Oh, you
Finn.
can fucking try.
You don't look like there's much meat on you.
Oh,
Even
no,
though you look
I'm
like you weigh more than
quite-
Finn, you look like
I'm quite
pigeony.
pigeony.
Pigeony, yeah. That's not a bad thing.
Doesn't feel like a compliment.
I've never gone to the gym and someone's gone, yo, mate, you're looking pigeony today, my guy. Like, there's
not much meat on a pigeon, is there?
Apparently not.
There's no Mr. Olympia pigeon category, is there?
Well, make one then.
Yeah.
That's still.
No, I'm not. I'm genuinely trying to think who would go
I'd
first.
definitely eat Finn.
Finn, I'm sorry,
He's got
mate.
some spice.
See, he's literally the youngest one here, and everyone's like, yeah, let's kill him first.
Yeah, so it's fresher.
I'd like a little... In my head, I was genuinely like, I'd like a holiday. That'd be nice. I think it would kind of ruin it when the first night when we were eating Finn.
Yeah,
Like the wedding.
First night.
The
I am starving here.
Look, lads, they don't open a buffet till tomorrow, so we've got no option other than to eat Finn.
We've not even got hungry. We've still had the meal on the plane. I'm still digesting. I was like, listen, let's not draw this out.
You've still got snacks.
We bought a load of stuff at duty free, so we've got a big Toblerone down. We don't need to eat Finn.
Elliot, that's pudding.
Where would you? Yeah, the question. Where would you start? That was the other part, wasn't it?
Which part of the...
Which part's of Finn?
So let's say it's me. I'll let you live out your fancy. I'm dying first.
I don't know.
I don't think he wants to eat you.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm dead.
Oh,
That's good.
Go for it. Which
Yeah.
bit first?
You're just enjoying you being dead.
don't know. You gotta go. It's just something that...
It's arse cheek.
I don't like chicken on the bone.
Thighs.
So if I could just...
Eyes.
Thighs,
Oh.
not eyes. Jesus.
Elliot, that's so dark.
Hey, if you're gonna if you get eyes,
Eyes,
if you're gonna be a
teeth.
cannibal, go hard.
Eyes, teeth, fingernails. It's got to be arse cheek, hasn't it?
No,
That's where
Reckon arse cheek first.
That's where the most fucking.
It's a
Carl,
meaty bit, innit?
Carl, he's died in the plane crash.
I'd wash it.
He's died in the plane crash.
Good.
And knowing his history of IBS, you'd start eating his arse first. That's where you...
No, but you can
the
cook off the shit now.
cheek. You don't just go straight for the. What is this? What?
He's not cooking me bumhole.
Mate, I've just...
I'm not cooking his bumhole. I'm cutting that
the
bit out.
delicacies, the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
he's
my
going
God.
to slice me cheek. It's got a
It's got some
bit
chunk
of
in
meat
it.
to it. hasn't it?
But that's,
I had a little burp.
this is weird that I know this, but you're. Oh, sorry.
I'd chop it up and put it in a wrap. I can't eat Adam.
Well, why
I
we
can't
got
eat
wraps?
Adam off the bone.
So, hang
You've
on.
got tortilla bread. Put eating Adam's arsehole.
There's a
I always
readily
take-
available tortilla bread
plain,
shop,
this.
but no ingredients. You
You need a filling.
got any sauce to go with me, mate?
Just supply.
First night. First night. You're right, love, yeah. I'll have a pack of tortilla breads, some wine gums, I'll have a Diet Coke, and you got any lettuce?
Yeah.
And he's
Gonna
still
eat his
quite
ass.
full as well.
Yeah.
He's still quite full. He's eating it because he's full.
next time, lads, we should brine the arm before we serve him.
Got a bit of leg.
Have we got to have a word?
We've got several.
Oh, okay. Do at least one.
What shall we do? We'll do this one. It's a bit of a big one.
Oh,
So this came in from Holly. Buckle in for this one. All right, Lids, please can you have a word with my ex-flatmate's dad? 2 weeks ago, my roommate threw me a surprise party for my 21st. It's worth noting before all this, it's only me and her living in the flat, as it's her parents who own it. Because the party was more for me than anyone, most of the people who came were my student friends from uni. When they came round, they asked me if I could get some coke in as they didn't have much alcohol. I said it was fine as long as they don't act like dicks about it because my roommate really hates drugs. Oh, Jesus. They said they would keep it to themselves. The night continued as normal. The only way you could tell it was even going on is because they were going to the bathroom to do it every now and again and then going for 3-hour walks around Brighton. Elliot, never forget. Halfway through the night, someone told my roommate it was happening by accident. as he thought she already knew that happens a lot. She got really upset and started spouting nonsense about how she couldn't believe they were doing it in the bathroom as her towels were in there. And also, when one of my mates did a key in the kitchen, she said, "I can't believe they are doing it in the kitchen. I don't want cocaine on my chicken nuggets tomorrow." She went to bed.
Said no one ever.
Honestly, I can't believe they're doing it in the kitchen. I don't want cocaine on my chicken nuggets tomorrow. I would love cocaine on my chicken nuggets. She went to, these are mine, not Etta's. She went to bed very upset, and by the time the party had died off, we all just went to bed. The next morning came, and about 5 of us were still in the flat. I apologised to my flatmate for causing her so much upset, and she said we were okay. She then went out to the shop to get some food, and the rest of us were just sat home watching TV hungover. Out of the blue, I get a phone call from her dad. I pick up the phone and immediately hear, "Holly, it's Andy. I want you to pack your fucking bags and get out of my flat as soon as fucking possible. How dare you associate my property with drugs? If you're not out in the next hour, I'll come and get you out myself, and I'll be calling your father and telling him exactly why." I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to say, except that I was really sorry and it wasn't me who was even doing them, but he was having none of it and told me to get out and hung up. Turns out my flatmate had texted her parents in the morning telling them that there had been drugs in the flat and I had said it was okay. I understand that he would not want drugs on his property and that he has a right to be angry, but the aggressive phone call and actually kicking me out of the house 2 days before my 21st birthday is ridiculous. Is he the dickhead for kicking off and kicking me out, or am I the dickhead for saying yes to my mates at the party? P.S. I have officially been kicked out and spent my birthday on a fellow patron's couch. She's a patron, keep that in mind. I have now fully moved out, and my ex-flatmate has converted my old room into an office, nonce, for herself and refuses to speak to her dad about it. Sorry for the long one, Lids, but it's hard. It's a hard one to condense. Love the pod. Holly. So, are we having a word with her for getting a beaky mates round, or the flatmate's dad, who sounds like a royal?
I'm going to let our guest take the lead.
Do you want to grab that mic in closer to you, Elliot?
Yeah. First up, massive respect. No. Whenever someone, she's dealing with someone who's just, this is a good thing. You're dealing with someone who's a goody two-shoes. You've had to go through the loss, like, doing a bit of blow, and I get both sides of it. Like, if you've never done drugs and you find out someone that has done cocaine, and your picture is gonna be like of the cartel stood there and like people doing it off machetes. For some reason, there's like flocks of geese running around. You know what I mean? That's gonna
go straight to crack cocaine, heroin, smack.
Yeah. That's what's gonna be your image of it. So I can totally get why they've done that. But if someone's like, "You're gonna get cocaine on my towel," like, it's called rack, it's not rack of towels. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's an overreaction. But she shouldn't have snitched to the parent. I reckon there was some beef going on beforehand where she wanted her out. Like, if you're doing it with drugs.
But then she threw the party, so she obviously liked her. I think. I think, it's quite weird, really, because I've been surrounded by drugs growing up. In a lot of comedians do it. I've tried them before. They're not really for me. Me and you are very similar with drugs in that we don't really like them.
Yeah.
And
me and you two are the same with it. I'm not into it. Go on.
But it's a weird one. I think it's a massive overreaction. I understand why he's pissed off. I understand why the daughter was like, "I can't." Like, it's the same as what you're saying. Like, "I don't do it, and they're doing it in my house, and you invited them, and you're saying it's okay." I understand they're being a bit whingy. I think she's a fucking lunatic to be like, "My towels are in there," like cocaine or Rhodes towels.
Like it's not.
I don't want cocaine on my chicken nuggets in the morning. Well, then don't put it on your chicken nuggets.
I dried my hair, and now I'm a drug addict.
Do you think the Scarface scene with the chainsaw is taking place in the no, my towels?
I love the overreaction.
Do you reckon you could rub it into your hair follicles if you're adding your towels?
I reckon somene's tried. Do it on your gums. Do it in your hair.
Alfie said you can do it in your bell end.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, stick a pill up your bum.
What?
Yeah.
You can do it
because it's a semi-permeable membrane. You can do cocaine through your bell end.
Yeah, but Adam would need thousands of pounds of coke. That's the problem.
to get through all of the dirt. Where he's dabbed it, so it just makes it wet anyway. It just all falls down. It's look at that, mate. Fucking pointless.
The thing with doing drugs doing it around civilians is one of the most dangerous games to play. Like, I've no judgment, but I've been there at parties when there's housemates who don't do it, and it's not fun for them. And it's not fun for you unless you're really selfish, like, I don't give a shit. Fucking Gemma invited us round, so we can do what we want. You have to be a real arsehole to treat anyone's house like that. It's just not a nice feeling. I just try and separate them as much as possible. On my stag do, there was 20 of us. I had loads of mates. I had my dad. I had my Uncle Robert. I had 3 of my female friends. I had my best mates from uni, some mates from comedy. It was a real gang of us. And I'd say there was about 10 of us who had coke. And I've got mates in the forces. Obviously my dad and my Uncle Robert, not that into it. And a few people that just don't do it. So I said exactly what that girl said was, do not do it anywhere. Don't talk about it in front of my dad. You know what I mean? But we were old enough. Like, I got married at 34, 35. You're old enough to be like, you know how to do it. Take it to one of the bedrooms, do it. And everyone was so moving around, no one noticed. My dad had no idea. We got away with it beautifully. Obviously, it was a bit obvious when everyone was fucking hammered and flagging at 3:30, and 10 of us were like, woo! Let's talk more in the hot tub. And then apparently Will Duggan, who is a mate of ours, who's a great comedian, he was there and had no idea it was happening until at 4 a.m, he was hammered. And my mate, who I'm not going to mention because he doesn't want to know, was sat in the hot tub on his own. Apparently he was just sat there going, my eyes wide open. Will was hammered and came into the garden, and my mate, who's met him a few times, just went, Will, just the man I wanted to talk to. And Will was like, oh, everyone's high as a kite. But it wasn't in their faces. It's a tricky one when you're doing it around someone that doesn't want it done around them. It's kind of on you. Like, I've done it, but as soon as you've got someone who's like, I don't want this, it's sort of on you. It's a tricky one.
Can I ask you, if you had a house party in yours...
Well, this has happened.
Right. But I mean now,
Yeah.
10 years older, so you have your 30th in yours, let's say like, for whatever reason it happens.
And me and Elliot come.
And
Is in mine with my mum.
yeah,
Yeah. No.
so
Absolutely
you would not let your mates do it,
Not
even
with
though a
my
lot
mum.
of them do it.
If your mum was in the house,
Yeah.
no way.
What if she wasn't?
As long as it was like there was no fucking remnants.
Not
Yeah.
the towels.
so we can't do it in her room.
No.
Well, what's the
this
fucking
happened
point?
in the 18th. A couple of mates, our mates smoked weed when we were 18. They still do now. I was like, I'm gonna ask if you do it. Just don't do it in my house. If you want to do it in the front, whatever. And fucking
Yeah.
I remember about a week later, gotten away with it, and mum opened the Littlewoods catalogue, and they'd been fucking whatever would they do with it.
Using it as a roach.
No. So it was just like they must have balanced whatever they were doing on the inside of the Littlewoods catalogue. So the inside of the Littlewoods catalogue's just full of weed. I was like, I nearly got away with it.
So in their head, you've gone, don't do it in the house. So they're like, yeah, we'll smoke it outside.
Yeah, we build it in the house.
But we've
and
got to
just-
make it in the house. There's a breeze.
The Littlewoods catalogue was
It
full of
puts
weed.
it puts you in shit. I had mates to that when I was 14. I had some mates stay over and they were smoking and I wasn't. And I went to bed. I was like, just make sure when you go out for a cigarette, all the shit away. And then the next day, I come downstairs and my dad was just sat there and he just left the pouch of baccy, just sat there. He didn't move it. And it was just that thing, you know, when you're like, nah, that genuinely was my friends. It wasn't me.
But that's the excuse,
But that's
isn't
the
it?
excuse. That's the excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those ones like, if you have a party and there's people who want to come and do drugs and your mum's in the house, it really is incumbent on them to not be the guy who's like, listen, I know Carl's mum's here, but I love to party. Like, that's not the kind of party you want to get fucking wrecked at your house, is it?
But you have to put that stipulation in, I think, because I think if someone goes to me like, or say someone was to go to me, hey, we're having this party, and I was go, oh, there's a party, and someone goes, oh, I'm going to bring some MDMA then, and they might bring MDMA with a thing going, I'll give some to Carl, like I was saying, like thank, just assume, and then you turn up,
Happy birthday,
and you turn up, and you've half hour before you got there dropped, and you get there, and Carl's like, no, there's no.
Yeah,
drug.
you have to make sure it's obvious. You can't be going, don't do that. Because just if you've not told them before, then it's your
Yeah.
What would you do if at the party you walked in the bathroom and your mum was just with a massive pile of cocaine just
I'd
snorting
bet
out?
like Bell one then. I'd be like, you're doing it. Let's fucking get on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're a really close family like
I used to
that.
buy
aren't
that
you?
as Secret Santa. I used to get like 30 quid's worth of limo for Secret Santa for whoever I got. And they were always fucking made up.
When you worked in a bar.
Yeah.
You just get 30.
What the fuck? That was one of the most scouse things that you said for a while. Yeah, Secret Santa. Got 30 quid of lemo.
What's lemo?
Okay.
So here's what happened. Right? Elliot.
I'm sorry, is your family the Cray twins? What is it?
No, in bars, as in Secret
Oh, yeah,
Santa.
not family.
I thought he said.
He's not giving his Uncle Brian.
I thought he was getting it for his family.
No.
Like, as in, like, the lads or...
Do you not know what lemo is?
No.
So lemo, what happened was, right, it's a scouse thing. I think it's spread further than Liverpool now, but it started as a scouse thing. All the drug dealers in Liverpool had like a big meeting. And they were like, listen, the police are onto us calling cocaine coke.
How do you know this?
He doesn't. Have you seen The Godfather? It was at the Holiday Inn near Lime Street. Got a conference suite.
They all had a big meeting. They were like, look.
I don't want it sold to kids. I don't want it sold
Yeah.
just like,
Hey, Don Steve. You show great respect to my family.
So they were like, look, the police are getting onto us calling it coke. We need a code word. Might take us a few hours to hash this out. There's something that they're never going to be able to guess. Someone said Pepsi, someone said Cherry Aid, then someone said Lemo, and the meeting was over.
What's the reason for
What's
it? Why is it
I
called
mean,
Lemo?
that's a very fucking jokey way of saying, but that's probably
Called
what it
Lemo
was.
because it's coke.
Yeah.
But aren't the police? Wouldn't anyone now watch this and go,
I mean,
we've solved it?
I
It's
think
not
the
the Da
police
Vinci Code.
cracked that code fairly quickly.
Isn't it something
I don't think they were waiting for this episode.
because when you used to go clubbing, they called them Garys.
Gary Ablett.
Because of Gary Ablett, tablet.
Yeah.
I thought Lemo was something to do with like a rhyme thing, and apparently it's just
I
like,
don't think so.
yeah, it's just
But I would
clever,
like-
innit? Because no police, the police are going to be like,
At the
they're moving a
parties,
ship.
like,
in a-
oh, I've got you the Christmas jumper. I'd be like, oh, I've got you the 30 sack of limo, and they'd always be made up.
Yeah,
I don't want to fucking...
Paul, I'm not joking. It's a fucking great idea.
I don't do it. I've never done it, but I've bought it. Like,
How
I've got
sound
friends,
are
so-
you? Hey, don't do this anywhere near me mum. Dead on it.
But what's weird is, one of my best mates now, Alex, I bought his mate some for Secret Santa, and he gave him some, and that was the first time he ever did drugs. And then a couple of years later, I became one of his mates, and I was like, oh, I bought your first ever bit of drugs.
He's dead now. Overdose. Wow. So I don't know. Yeah, the dad's a fucking bell end. But he's got to be careful with the mates.
It just sounds like a very sort of like. I imagine I have friends who have parents like that who like would have no idea that what their kids are up to, but were to find out would be like, you're breaking this family apart because they've smoked a spliff.
Yeah.
But coke is like, that's a serious drug.
Yeah.
That's not like, you know, if it was, oh, they were caught with a bit of spliff, it would be like, but hearing people have been around your house doing coke is a bit like,
Yeah.
if you've not done it,
If you're not
man.
accustomed to it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, my stepmom rang me 10 years ago and went, oh my God, my nephew's been caught with buying crack cocaine. And I was like, wow. And they were like, everyone's really worried. His mum's really worried. And obviously came to me because I'd been quite open about it. I go clubbing. I'm at the time, I'm 25, late 20s. I'm not dependent on my dad for money or anything. So I just talked about it and I'd done it on stage. But because my life was going okay, I become this weirdly semi-respectable person to ask about it. So I was like, right, is it definitely crack cocaine? Or has he, because he'd been caught doing like nicking money or something for his, and it ended up that him and his mates were buying coke. And to me, that is the two most different stories ever. Like, because crack instantly goes, like, that sounds horrific. It sounds like it's like veering off towards heroin, addiction, all sorts of horrible stuff. And coke is what fucking like wealthy bankers in the city of London do every week. It's like, but to her, she'd heard cocaine and gone, well, it's crack cocaine. And that's what parents do. If you've never been involved, you go, oh, that's terrible because it sounds a bit like the thing. It's confusing, but it's not as bad as it sounds.
It's a party drug now, isn't it? Especially in the UK. It's definitely a party drug.
It's everywhere. But why do you say like crack and heroin? Like, because I, in my opinion, I think like, I reckon crack and heroin have the stigma that coke had maybe like 20, 30 years. So whereas coke used to be like the, whoa, you're doing coke drug. Whereas like the amount of people just on nights out now who just go out and do coke, like, and it almost, I think that's when I sort of would stop doing it when I at one point went, I'm now looking for an excuse to do this. So I'm going to pack this in because I think you have to have a certain mentality to be an addict whereas I was just being
That shit
hedonistic.
is so addictive.
It is addictive.
It's so addictive.
Coke.
Yeah.
But
The feeling of being in your head, you're like, I feel great. I feel coherent. You know when we're on form on the pod and we get to the end of it and you're like, whoa, we were really on it then. We were hitting the funnies. That's basically, even if you're not like that, when you have Coke, you're like, that's how you feel. You feel switched on, firing, blah, blah, blah. And that feeling is addictive. That's what you've got to watch out for.
yeah, I think as well, especially if you have something like in your life that is missing, or you go, this is the answer. Do you know what I mean?
Shit, yeah.
But like crack, it's still just Coke. It's just smokable, and it's the only reason that that's there is because it was like in America that was considered the black drug. That's what black people do. Whereas Coke is more of a like, you know, it's a bit more party, yeah. Whereas
it's
like
perception.
It's a perception.
If
It's
I
the same
said
with
to you
heroin.
earlier after the show, I'm going to get some coke in, do you want a little bit? Or I said, do you want to get some crack?
Do you want an honest answer?
Would you not be like, would you
Do you
not
want
be
an
like,
honest answer, Dad?
Dad?
Do you want an honest
on,
answer?
go on.
I'd go fuck yeah, man. but like I don't think there's.
Would you do heroin?
Yeah, I would.
That's coming to some merch.
That's
gonna
going
be
on
merch.
merch. We need Laura's gone. But would you do heroin?
I wouldn't inject it,
Yeah.
but I know people who've
Would you
done.
rub it on your dick?
Yeah, well, how else are you gonna? But
You know people who've done it.
I know people who've done it.
Yeah.
And
I
they've
know
said,
people who've done
they've said it's the worst calm down they've ever had. They'd never injected it. I know people who smoked it. I think I know someone who snorted it, and they were just like, it was meh. I think they were just like, it's not, because it's sensationalized. Because in a TV show, you watch like Requiem for a Dream, or you watch Trainspotting or something. It's like they make it like slightly sexy and like, oh, it's gonna do this, this, and this, and then you probably come to it and go, I just watched SpongeBob for 4 hours. Like people, it's like I've heard people go, it's like being stuck. And I'm not a downer guy. Like I'm not really too into downers.
Yeah.
So when I take them, I just sort of sit there full of angst. You
Yeah.
know, whereas uppers were the thing that I preferred. But now, like, that's why I still think the best drug was ecstasy. The only problem with ecstasy is the come down.
Yeah.
Like the come down the next day, because you've used 7 years worth of happiness in 4 hours. Your body goes, yeah, I'm going to give you this now. That's when no one gets addicted. I don't know if anyone's addicted to ecstasy. They're addicted to like the lifestyle that it brings of like going to a rave, going to a club. But this is the thing. When I first got told,
no one's just doing ecstasy in the house.
I did.
Just on a Tuesday on the couch. Woo!
No, you can't do it every day.
You can't do it every day. You just it doesn't. Like,
Even when you're 22 and you're in the middle of the club and you come down, you miss sleep and you come down, even though you've had the best time, you've loved everyone, you've wanted to talk about everything, the music was amazing. By Tuesday, you're like, I need a few days off. Yeah. I need to be left alone. I need to eat some vegetables. Like it is, it's not an everyday thing.
It's even when you do that thing where you've probably done it where you've gone out on a night out and you go to do it again the next day and then you just stood there and you're not up and you just feel
you're a hollow man.
You go,
you're
I
a
should
hollow
be in bed
man,
with a cup of tea.
Would you do heroin?
No, but like, you can't predict the future. No, I don't think. I think I would find heroin too heavy as like.
But is that just the stigma?
That's the stigma that comes with it. That's why you don't. But
do you know what I mean about the crack and the heroin thing? The crack, like I know it's the same, but like it is way more stigma. It's way less socially acceptable.
Oh, if I turn up to a house party and people are smoking crack, the first thing I'd think is like, "Fuck, this is going to be a story."
Yeah,
like this is going to be like I walked in and people were not even a bit.
But to
just
this
like,
landlord dad, it's literally all the same thing. So it's easy to go, yeah, this guy's a prick, and he does sound like a prick. But to him, he's just like, people have done crack and heroin at my house near my daughter's chicken nuggets.
And that's the worst thing to come out of the drug war yet, really, when you think about it.
I think he's massively overreacted. I think I would have a way with him and go, look, I think he needs to be told, look, a lot of people do this, especially around your daughter's age. Your daughter's a good girl. She doesn't do it. I wouldn't worry too much about it. You've made your point. It probably won't happen again in your house. Don't kick the poor girl out. And to the girl who's sort of ran the party, who's written in, I'd go, yeah, if your roommate is this much against drugs, I wouldn't allow your friends to be doing it in your house.
She's turned a bedroom into an office. She doesn't want it there, did she? She doesn't fight for it to stay there.
She sounds like a lot of fun on a night out.
She should just like almost like counter Sue and just go turn her bedroom into like a constant sesh place. And she's like, no, you've got your office, and it's just like a guy with a needle out his arm with a blanket lying on the floor.
Checkmate.
Turkey Twizzlers everywhere. Well,
are we podcasted?
That's been an ep, hasn't it? That has been an ep. The reaction to Carl's big fat silly stupid quiz has been amazing. If you love the podcast and you are like, oh God, I keep hearing about this Patreon, we've got 2 phenomenal lockdown lock-ins and now this amazing quiz, and then about 9 months of weekly 90-minute episodes of the Patreon special. We were getting a lot of trouble, but it's fucking great.
And
So
we're closing in
sign
on
the
3,000 Patreons, which is
boys.
a milestone we really, 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 really want to hit. Patreon.com/HaveAwayPod. Extra episode every week, early access to public episodes, and once a month on average we do a bonus thing like the quiz or a lockdown lock-in of some sort where we get pissed. And you know what, for £3 a month I think it's as good a value as anything you spend your monthly money on, so go sign up now.
Elliot, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks,
Do you want
man.
us to plug anything for
Yeah,
you?
could I just plug? I'm starting up my YouTube stuff again. Like I need to keep doing that.
Do it.
But my Instagram and Twitter, like I'm putting a lot more stuff out at the moment. Especially when stand up comes back, I'm going to be putting a lot more stand up clips back.
What are your Instagram and Twitter?
Elliot Still on Instagram and at ElliotStillCom on Twitter.
Okay,
And then
cool.
on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, Elliot Still.
You get his things to slide in as well as ours this week, yeah?
Oh, honestly, boys, it's been a pleasure, Dave.
Oh, you've been great,
Thanks
man.
for coming
It's been
up.
really fun to talk to him, mate, and have a laugh.
Sweet. My special, very, very close to 100,000 views, which is Club Comic on YouTube. We've still got some merch available. Again, coming to the end of that line of merch. There is some new stuff coming. That's at haveawaypod.com. Dan, do you do a side project?
Yeah, I do. Show me the sample. We've just hit 2,000 fucking hell. When we hit 2,000 Patreon subscribers, I'm getting all the motherfucking drainage and crack cocaine. We've just hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Go and check out me and Felix Leiter. It's at Show Me the Sample. Pod?
Pod.
Pod?
Pod.
Beautiful. Bye, Felicia.
Do you reckon Hitler ever bummed anyone?